Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. I'm Santi. That's Street Trash. That's actually a really not overly obnoxious wrestling t-shirt that I might wear.
I know, right? You see my hat too?
Did you really get yourself a train conductor hat?
Hey, you're not allowed on the train, so I figured I go all out with the gimmick.
There's a single purpose to this hat. You bought this hat for the gimmick?
Yeah. Just to remind you visually when you look at me during the podcast that you're not allowed on the train because I'm the conductor of this train.
Dude, there's got to be other analogies aside from trains. We've been talking about trains for months. People are like, I don't think this is a wrestling podcast. I think this is about trains and wagons.
Trains are cool. But yeah, this shirt's dope, dude. This shirt's dope.
Take the hat off.
Why?
Because it's stupid. You look dumb.
I look great. Is it bothering you that now it's a visual reminder? That
Look, it is. First of all, it is. Yeah. But to be fair, we're on the back of a 2-hour Raw that makes it feel like it's just not a train worth being on in general for Monday Night Raw. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But folks, welcome to the Wrestling is Cool podcast. I'm Santi. That's Conductor Sancho. You could be listening to this episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days earlier than everywhere else over on patreon.com/SantiZap, where you would get 5 Wrestling is Cool Match Club watch-alongs, the weekly Royal Rumble watch-along with Sancho, the Raw review, SmackDown review, and like I said, this podcast 3 days earlier for just 5 doubloons. Honestly, I think it's the best deal in this entire industry of professional wrestling. Come check it out. Patreon.com/SantiZap. 2-hour Raw. Oh, you have a question. Okay.
Yeah, real quick.
Okay.
Front good? Is the back good?
I mean, like, the back's, I like the front more. The back's okay. That's the thing, bro. Wrestling, can we actually, before we get into things, wrestling merch is annoying. I have so many wrestling shirts. In fact, I have a plethora of John Cena shirts.
Yeah, 15. Yeah. And
the sizings are weird. First of all, they're bizarre. Under every other type of t-shirt, I am an XL. And for some reason, with WWE shop merch, I'm a double XL, which I'm just not in regular life. And also, can we talk about sometimes the quality of these shirts as well? They're not particularly super well made. You know, sometimes they shrink a little bit too much. Sometimes the designs on it don't last as long as they should. The colors fade out, like that yellow LA Knight shirt. It started a beautiful, like, bright canary yellow. That thing looks like snot now. What's going on with WWE shop merch, man?
It's tough, dude. I agree with you about the sizing because this is an XL.
Yeah.
This is not.
Sancho's a petite human. He's like a small.
I am. You ever been to H&M and tried on their medium? Yeah, dude, everything is smaller there.
Yeah.
It's kind of insanely small, but at least I feel that the WWE merch is slightly getting better. It's always the back of the shirt that's abhorrently terrible.
It is.
But at least the front's good. I mean, if you really look at LA Knight's merch, it's not the best. I mean, the big LA is nice. The Crossing the Delaware is okay. It's a good meme. So I think Jey Uso shirts are not that bad. I mean, the big gold yeet, that was a lit shirt. I kind of like that vibe. And I'd rarely buy WWE merch, but I saw this one on, and I was like, that's kind of cool. But isn't it weird that Street Trash is a Damian Priest moniker, and yet Judgment Day wear this shirt?
I think
a lot of questions.
Yeah, so there's just so much going on with the Judgment Day. Is Raquel in the Judgment Day? Who the hell knows?
Do you think that I can convince the WWE to make a Karrion Kross train or a New Day train shirt?
I bet a New Day train would probably be the one, and you can have like Kofi and Xavier as conductors or something in it, and they could probably make a fun T-shirt out of it.
If I bought it for you, would you wear it?
I'd buy it. I'd wear it. I'd wear it. If you bought it for me. Look, I'm starting to come around. Around that I've made a mistake. I've made a grievous and major lapse in my judgment.
Oh, Judgment Day. But let's talk about the 2-hour Raw.
Yeah. Doesn't this feel like poor execution and a maybe good idea? Because I know a lot of us wanted a 2-hour Raw for a really long time. I'm talking throughout the 2010s, people were clamoring for 2-hour Raws to come back. Granted, 3-hour Raws back then were an actual slog to get through. To the point, Sancho, that I was still what I would consider to be a hardcore wrestling fan. I stopped watching Raw altogether. I would just watch the recaps on YouTube because there wasn't good enough needle moving storyline beats happening on Raw, which isn't the case anymore. Like, things move along on Raw and SmackDown like big time, especially in the mid card. But then also, like, back then there were just so many recaps. Like, you would come back from commercial and they would recap the thing that they just went from commercial to. They do an entrance and then they do a recap of what happened last week and then they'd go to commercial. So 3-hour Raws back in the day were a tough time to get through. But it felt to me, Sancho, and maybe jump in here, it feels like in the last 3 months since Backlash, I'll say, Raw has been money. Like, just on every single note, it's been hitting it much better than Cody Rhodes' band bringing him out to the arena.
Come on, don't low blow the band. You cannot do a marching band in a round ring. That doesn't make any sense.
It was the acoustics. It was the mixing. And yet the people in the arena was like, it actually sounded pretty good in person. Whatever, man. It was a bad idea. It was cringe.
Look. The WWE for the longest time, it's like let's talk about NFL a little bit, all right?
Okay.
They have been an all-star quarterback. They've been cooking. They've been on fire. They've been on a crazy win streak. Triple H couldn't do wrong. And he literally, crown jewel announcement, that's a pick. We're like, okay. Ooh.
That's a pick six, bro. That's a pick six. It's a pick six.
And then the 2-hour Raw followed up. That's a pick six, right? All of a sudden, that pick turned into 6 points the other way. And you're just like, okay. I'm just saying right here, not everything's bad. It's okay, you right?
Yes.
Let's chill for a little bit, cool the jets a little bit. The 2-hour Raw was not the best. I think when someone is the rhythm of that 3 hours that we're talking about, it was beautiful. They had the seamless segments. You have like entrances coming from the back. You had a promo leading to the music. You had so many characters interacting with each other, coming out of the ring, going into the ring. Like, all that stuff was great. You basically the template was you had a backstage segment into the match, into the fallout, and you would get everything complete. Like, okay, great, we're done with this story. Let's move on to the next story. You had Judgment Day, open the show, promo in the middle, another backstage segment, and then the match itself. So you had so much comfortability with everything surrounding all the superstars. Even the mid-card, like you mentioned, you had a great build-up, and then you had a great blow-off match that lasted 2-3 segments on the Raw, and you felt fantastic. And this 2-hour Raw was just too jarring. Yes. It was too much of like, wait a minute, something that's not right here. Everything is just as if you and I were told, go put on Raw. Here's all these list of characters. Here's the template. You only have 2 hours to figure it out. And it's interesting to me because Triple H did in the, I think it was Denise who asked him, how do you feel about the 2-hour Raw coming up and how does it change your thing? And I could be wrong about who was asking. But essentially, Triple H was like, well, it's a challenge. We don't know if we're going to get that 3 hours on Netflix. We would like it. But this 2 hours is challenging as someone as a storyteller. And Triple H's baby step booking, as we pointed out on SmackDown, we're used to it. But on Raw, definitely suffered.
Yeah, there's one more thing that you forgot to mention in like the things that are missing from the show. Because one of the things that Raw was really good at was implementing pretty much everyone into the show, even if they didn't have an on-camera role. Think about how many times we saw things develop in the background as Easter eggs that would eventually lead into something on screen. Those are all things that have to go away. Like, they have to. There's just no time to be able to pull that off. I do think that once they get their feet wet enough times with a 2-hour Raw, we could get a fantastic show because we have figured out SmackDown. And if we can get that tight pacing on Monday Night Raw as well, it's going to be fantastic as well. But I think there's going to be some Funny enough, the term isn't growing pains. It's like shrinking pains. There's going to be some shrinking pains in this because there are people that are going to have to be left off on a week to week basis. We saw this on SmackDown, but they figured it out. They figured out kind of like a nice rotation of what to leave out one week, but only give them like a quick 30-second segment and then bring them back to the fold the next week. They figured it out on SmackDown, and on Raw, we haven't seen that. We're not used to seeing the Judgment Day for only literally a total amount of a minute 30. A 30-second segment from Rhea Ripley, and then a 1-minute segment from Diesel and Shawn Michaels. I mean Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. We're not used to that. We will eventually figure it out. The one thing that I do think is a fair criticism, and even though I didn't keep track of this, so again, do not use Wrestling is Cool as a good source, all right? It felt like this had twice as much commercials as a 2-hour SmackDown. Maybe there's some sort of contractual obligation of X amount of commercials or percentage of the show of commercials within a 2-hour span for Raw, but the show was really broken up a lot by commercials, something that just isn't the case for SmackDown. Obviously, SmackDown has commercials and they still annoy people, but again, the pacing of the show has worked well with the amount of commercials on SmackDown. And there were so many commercials here that really broke down the pacing of a show that was already having to be more fast-paced than it's ever had to be in the last 12 years.
I tweeted out that it was like somebody just skipping all the cutscenes and just getting into the next segment. Did you have picture-in-picture?
I did not have picture-in-picture.
Yeah, I had picture-in-picture most of the time. So when it went to the commercial, there was a lot of picture-in-picture, and there's a lot of, I guess there's some criticisms that you could take from the 2-hour Raw. One, this whole buildup of the mid-card of Xavier Woods going against his first opportunity about Jey Uso didn't really climax correctly. It just felt so flat, and because a lot of the work
Take the hat off. No conductor can speak poorly of anything related to their train. You're supposed to be 100% positive about the train. Take it off. You are a disgrace. You are a disgrace to the Union of Conductors. Pathetic.
Let me defend Xavier Woods. It is one of the biggest victims of the 2-hour Raw is Xavier Woods, because he was being built up so good and so well with all these segments and all these hidden gems that by the time you get the payoff of Jey Uso, it's literally a segment and a half. And a lot of his great work that he did in the ring was picture-in-picture. He had a great delayed, like standing vertical suplex that was fantastic. Couldn't see it on the big screen because it was picture-in-picture.
I didn't see it at all.
Right. All the offense he got on Jey Uso was done during the commercial, so that when you came back from the commercial, it was literally one move. Jey hits the I forget what
springboard super kick.
He hits the Shawn Michaels-esque super kick into the splash, and that's it. 1, 2, 3. And you're like, what just happened? If you on your side in the
that
Canada,
was my experience. I was like, we just came back and it's over. I didn't see anything.
Right. My experience, I was like, dude, we're missing the best stuff that Xavier is doing in this match during this commercial. Another big thing that I would say that really did suffer is the women. It was awful to see them in a tag team match with 10 of them, all of them. And granted, everybody was in the story that was involved in it, but it was just done very sloppily. You had everybody come in the same time. And you just feel like it should not be. And Raw has done this before, and even in 3-hour, that we cannot get to the women in an hour and a half of the show, into the show. This one came into like an hour and 10 minutes. Not good, man, considering that we've already said that Lyra's in a weird spot. And when you have limited segments where you can't really flesh out the things of PFC, you can't really flesh out Natalia's involvement. Zelina took a really bad knee to the back of the head, maybe because everyone felt rushed. It's just not good for business, brother. And I know that Triple H is going to figure this out, and I know he's going to have time. But Santi, can I reach out to you, an olive branch?
Okay.
May I strike a deal with you?
Hit me.
I feel a great idea for a temporary fix is to put some of the things that you're seeing on Raw, some of the things on SmackDown, to the PLEs. Give the PLEs more segments. Add more matches to help fix this issue, at least in these 2 months that we're going to have a 2-hour Raw.
Well, I think that's the solution because I was very, very much on board with the mid card staying on Raw and SmackDown because of how much development and time they were getting to cook. And on SmackDown, it's not a problem because there is like two,
4 stories.
there's a couple.
Yeah.
I was going to say 2 mid card stories maybe going on at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But over on Raw, there's like a handful, and you can't give them all time. Like, we got like a couple of Wyatt 6 flashes, no American made related things. Bronson Reed left off.
Finn Balor.
No Finn Balor, no Damian Priest. A lot of things just have to be put aside and have to be given that week by week break to the point where, these storylines that have been fantastic, like for example, Last Monster Standing, that start and end and have their entire life cycle on Raw. They can't do that anymore. They just simply can't to the level that they were able to in a 3-hour Raw. Here's the thing too, though. 2-hour Raws were what we had in the Ruthless Aggression era and in the Attitude era. So they know how to put on a great 2-hour Raw. It can be fantastic, but this first attempt was a bit of a swing and a miss. When you mentioned, the women with PR Fusion Collective, next week's episode, that's pre-taped.
Yeah.
That's pre-taped. So now we've got 10 women that are going to not be part of that episode, by the way. But in my opinion, this story had absolutely no heat, no interest, really garnering from the wider fan base. In my Raw review over on Patreon, I said that like when you're this strapped for time, this is not something you should be showcasing. You should be showcasing a better aspect of the women's division, something else that is actually going to garner interest and is going to get people's eyes glued to the women's division. Because this Vince era 10-person tag match, because that's what that is. That's what they used to do. You got nothing. Let's put you all together. Quick, huge multi-person tag team match to really pass the time. That's what that felt like. Especially that 10-woman tag match felt really out of place for what we've seen in the Triple H era of booking. That's maybe that was supposed to be the culmination of the storyline, and then we can move on from this. Maybe, I don't know. But I feel like we can kind of quell our concerns that PFC and this is going to be the women's war games. I feel like they paid it off here.
It was weird. And the reason why I bring up the PLE thing, because think about this, okay? Let's just put in a time machine, a different multiverse. We take Jey Uso versus Xavier, put it on Bad Blood. Xavier's from Atlanta. It'd be Jey Uso's biggest first title defense. That's a huge. We then take Sheamus versus Pete Dunne, leave that on Raw, and that'll get that big, long thing that it did. The Donnybrook match was amazing. I mean, I feel that Sheamus saw what happened at Bad Blood from Drew McIntyre. Was like, let me kick it up a notch as well. Crazy bumps to that match. We take Gunther and Sami and put that on Bad Blood. So now we get 2 men's titles defended on Bad Blood. We get that big blow off of between Sami and Gunther. Sami's one kick out of the power bomb moment. It hits a little bit harder because it's happening at a PLE. And then you put that Braun Breaker seemingly face heel turn on the PLE, hits a little bit harder. And then you have more room on Raw. And does it add maybe an hour on that PLE? Maybe. But I don't think it hurts the momentum of that PLE. I think what hurt the momentum of Bad Blood the most was putting Drew and Punk early.
Oh yeah.
But that's the one thing about that I feel that the 2-hour Raw, you're limited by the USA Network and what they're offering. You're limited by the amount of commercials that you have to do, that you've already probably signed a contract years ago, and you have to fill all these obligations. Because not only you get the obligations of sponsors, but you get the obligations of the USA Network, and then you get the obligations of the WWE and the merch. You have all these things happening, and there you have the PLE. Does the PLEs have limited time? Like, does Peacock say, no, you can't have 4-hour, 5-hour shows? Maybe, I don't know. But I just feel that if a PLE has the ability to help out the main shows, I think that'd be great. And what's interesting as well, we're not even adding the other, and I know right now there's a scary hurricane coming to Florida. Please be safe. We're not even adding this other element of this storm that's happening with the Jewel, everything shoehorning in the Crown Jewel feuds, because there's so much mess that happened on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, Sancho, I figured out the problem. All right.
Oh, okay.
What happens to a wrestler that's signed to a wrestling company What happens to them when they're on their way out in terms of their win-loss record?
Oh, they just start losing left and right, getting squashed.
They start doing the job, right?
They start doing
Brother,
the job, brother.
USA's got Raw doing the job. They're like, we are losing you. We're going to rinse you for every ounce of advertiser money that we can get until you go to Netflix. It feels like they're jobbing out Raw. Like if we're going to use, some wrestling terms here, all of the awesome stuff is being saved for SmackDown, and on Raw, they're like, we're going to rinse you until you go to Netflix as a decrepit version of yourself.
That's a good point, because Triple H said in the same thing after Bad Blood, he says we're a turnkey type of service. You come to us, we give you the programming, and obviously a lot could be said that maybe it's USA that it's
right. Well, like if I'm USA, why would I want to nurture this? Like
that's true.
Like I don't want to nurture this. I want this show ended exactly at the time it's supposed to end. So no little 2 minutes of overrun, because there's a show immediately after that's paying to be here for the long haul. Meanwhile, Raw is just here. Like Raw's just here for the zip line as far as USA Network is concerned. Raw's just renting the place. So you want to treat your full-time tenants as well as you possibly can, and Raw is going to be a casualty, brother.
Dude, that Cody Rhodes and Gunther, they just got to the thing and did it.
Boom. Bro, they were about to raise their belts. They were walking towards each other. It was going to be such a cool visual. And the second Cody gets 1 inch of raising his belt, it's over. It's done.
They should add a white text just to help us out with it, just to make us feel better. I think, okay, truthfully, for these next coming months, it just means that WWE fans, we're going to have to do a little bit more legwork. There's a lot of great stuff that happened on the social timeline around the WWE, a lot of little segments and stingers. Xavier Woods and Kofi's had a great one afterwards where Kofi confronts Xavier and tells him, like, hey, man, why did you shake Jey Uso's hand? And Xavier was like, dude, why do it always has to be on me? Why do I have to shake his hand? And I love that moment. He's like, yeah, he beat me. Congratulations, right after the whole thing.
That was great.
So that was great. So there's so many things that now, just like SmackDown, if you're a fan of the Monday Night Raw roster, you're going to have to look on socials. You're going to have to look on Instagrams. But in all those things that have to come in through, because that's where all the details are going to happen. Raw Talk's going to have to step up a little bit more to fill in the holes for a lot of the missing things, as well as the Instagram and the Twitters and even the TikTok. So there's so many things that now we have to do homework for. And I don't know, maybe us content creators, we got to step up a little bit to fill the people in. I feel that we do a lot of great work on the Patreon. If you want to try to get more of the juice out of this limited stone that we've been upon here for the 2 hours.
You mentioned keeping an eye on socials. I think it's right. Like WWE has already done a really good job of making socials being the show companion, right? Like if you're paying attention to the socials, you see, for example, Sheamus posting a picture of his back and how just gruesome it was. It gives you just additional context on everything that's happened. And we see WWE themselves usually publish these backstage little videos that don't make the show, that do advance the story of whatever it is that you just saw. Now more than ever, you're going to want to pay attention to those as well, especially because clearly WWE is trying something new. We saw it with Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens immediately after Bad Blood, where there was no cameras on them, but they placed themselves in a perfect spot for the crowd to be able to film them organically. And we had the Kevin Owens heel turn happen off of WWE TV. A major WWE story beat happening off of TV is not an unheard of thing. We saw it with The Rock, right? Like The Rock basically turned heel off of TV on the Pat McAfee show, on his Instagram reels. And now we're seeing WWE kind of dip into that bag of viral marketing again, what I call guerrilla style. By the way, when I say guerrilla style, I mean like army guerrilla. I don't mean gorillas like Harambe, R.I.P., Harambe. But we're seeing WWE try their hand at a different style of storytelling and marketing that is, in my opinion, incredibly genius. One, because this is all driven and organically pushed by fans and content creators. This is not something that's produced by WWE. So it gives it that feeling of like, I don't think I was supposed to see that. We're blurring the lines, right? And then additionally, it gives it this feeling of you need to pay attention to the things that are happening outside of the traditional WWE TV, which means that WWE is canon even outside of when it's on network TV. And I think that that's really cool, really interesting, especially with how interconnected wrestling fans are. I think it's just going to make the entire ecosystem something a lot more must be a part of, which I think is going to create a lot more of the term FOMO, fear of missing out. A lot of more people are going to jump in on the social medias. I can't miss out. I can't miss out on like the next Kevin Owens heel turn. Maybe the whole Randy Orton thing is going to play out on social media. I got to pay attention to that as well. I think it's genius. I really, really think that it's genius, and it's a bold step forward for WWE storytelling, something that we haven't really seen them explore all too deeply aside from when The Rock did it for himself.
I feel that Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes should be applauded because those punches, Kevin Owens' punches were so snug. It didn't look like wrestling punches. They looked very stiff, and Cody didn't sell like a wrestler. He sold like as if he was beaten up on the street. And at the same time, that's my favorite moments going to a live event is going into where they go into the arena, and you always have a bunch of fans looking into the loading dock. And so that's where they placed it perfectly because they knew there would be like 30 people or 50 people just wanting a glimpse of their favorite WWE superstars. And it's always fun after the show to see them leave, and they're like, you see the variety of different rental cars, you see the variety of different buses and things of that sort. So that was very cool. And man, poor Cody, dude. That bus does not give him any luck. He's been beaten up in front of that bus too long.
Look at you now. Yeah, right beside like a $300,000 Maserati. Did you see that car? Right beside.
Was that Kevin's car? Or
I have no idea whose car it was, but it's probably more than $300K actually.
Good Lord. Yeah. Probably a YouTuber. You know, YouTubers.
Sancho West in the suite.
I love it, dude. I think that I've been waiting for so long for the WWE to take advantage of this because it is sports entertainment, and what a better way to marry social media and sports entertainment together to create a 24/7 cycle. I feel that WWE has always wanted to be a 24/7 cycle, like a CNN, like Ted Turner did with news when he made CNN, and now we're 24/7 news network type of vibe. I think it'd be interesting if the WWE was 24/7. I mean, they could kind of create that if they create a worldwide product, which is clearly that they're trying to do with the PLEs by putting them in Italy and all Australia. I just think right now you got to be careful though, because what if they act like what I like about it the most is WWE's like talking about it. They're like, we can't address it. Joe Tessitore's not talking about it. Wade Barrett want to talk about it. Like, no, we can't talk about it because the official statement is this. And it's interesting. That's kind of like almost like you said, blurring the lines, but it feels very taboo. Like to know, like, was Kevin Owens actually mad at Cody Rhodes?
Forbidden fruit, man. You're not supposed to see it. I like the term forbidden fruit. Okay, it's
it's your thing, right?
Do
you tell her your special one? Like, am I your forbidden fruit?
You're about to get this forbidden fruit.
Why? Every time, like, I kind of just set it up and just let the audience's imagination go a little bit, you know. But you kind of hone it in, dude. You alley-oop dunk it into
if you're gonna give me a beautiful assist like that, your boy's gonna go through the legs, 360, 360 Vince Carter dunk, just inducted into number retired by the Toronto Raptors, even though I feel like he did us dirty. All right, that's how forgiving we are, Sancho.
Vince Carter did you dirty?
Vince Carter did us so dirty.
What do you mean? He put you guys on the map.
Yeah, he put us on the map, and then he left us off the map for like 10 years until we had to force our way back into the map. He never wanted to be there.
Did you pay him? Did you pay him?
Yeah, no, the problem was never paying him. He took less money to go to the Nets because he just didn't want to play in Canada. That guy did us dirty. He did us so dirty. But we're forgiving people in Canada. Welcome to the Ring of Fame or whatever it is that we have in Toronto. I think we've retired like one number before. we don't have a big history in the Toronto Raptors, but we have a championship, 2019.
I have a question. Should the WWE have an all-star weekend?
Oh, that's neat.
Right? And whenever I look, sometimes Santi and I, we kind of have a template or story beats of what we're going to do here for the podcast, but here it is. Santi, right in your face, off the top of your head, a WWE all-star weekend. And may I propose a slam dunk-esque competition where you try to do the best finisher?
You know what's funny? Chris Van Vliet actually did something like that, where he did
Oh
this like wrestlers
yeah,
combine for
yeah, I saw
indie
that.
wrestlers and TNA wrestlers that were there. And it was pretty cool. It was pretty neat to see them in like a real competitive environment that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't scripted. I don't know if WWE would ever do that though. That's the thing, because there were challenges there that certainly made wrestlers look more athletic and better than others. And I
Mm.
don't know if that's necessarily the vibe that WWE wants to do.
Wasn't it like what was it,
Madcap Moss just
He was
destroyed
like really
everybody.
fast, right? Yeah, right. He was
Yeah,
faster than Braun Breaker or something like that.
yeah. I mean, I feel like we kind of have that, but not necessarily in terms of like physical challenges. Like WrestleMania weekend, if you go there,
Sure.
it is just an all-star weekend vibe for professional wrestling in general, especially with how many meet and greets and stuff there are. But it'd be kind of neat to see these WWE superstars outside of the traditional wrestling environment doing
Oh, I see what you're
challenges.
saying. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I think I'd like it. Like, for example, I mark out whenever I see wrestlers in Family Feud, for example. Like, that's
Oh,
pretty cool. I do like that.
so I see what you're saying. So instead of like a wrestling all-star where you like doing the best finisher or the best high fly move, you do like basketball, football.
Sure,
You do like
sure.
you do like throwing things at targets, maybe like carnival games. Oh, that'd be sick. A little hammer, like a strongman hammer, and you try to hit the little thing, or like the punching thing. That'd be kind of cool. Do
I'd love all that. I think that'd all be pretty neat. Would they do
uh,
it? I don't know. Maybe.
it seems like a very family friendly thing to do, right? It's not nothing like let's have a eating contest type of thing, right? Kind of like that'd be the vibe. A fashion show. You know what? I'm sounding like a Fortnite video. I'm sorry. I do apologize. These are all
They're
things
wearing
that
different skins from Fortnite.
these are all things Fortnite YouTubers and content creators do. I apologize. Let's reverse the course back into wrestling.
Oh, okay, I'm doing it.
Yeah,
Back
I'm
in
backing it
blood.
up. I'm backing it up.
Let's
I'm
go to
backing it up.
backing up the train. Conductor's like, oh, we're on the wrong rails here. Let's bring it back. Let's talk about Bad Blood. You already kind of alluded to it. The
Bad
pacing of
Blood.
the show was a little bit off. The show started with CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, and Sancho, what is now my favorite match of the year.
Ooh,
It is my favorite match of the year,
including Mania?
including Mania. Like just when I
Wow.
look at the match, like
Wow.
apples to apples, I think that this didn't need all of the glitz and glamour and all of the crazy shock and surprises of Bloodline rules. Because obviously, like that to me, obviously the match was really good, but it's
Mm.
elevated and carried by all of the crazy shocks and moments and surprises. While this to me
Mm-hmm.
just sort of felt like this in a vacuum wrestling match that didn't need anything else around it. Like nothing else outside of this match when that cage was down mattered. There was no other
Mm.
storylines that helped elevate this. There was no other people that helped elevate this. It was just CM Punk and Drew McIntyre going to hell, going to war, and they delivered what I genuinely think might be the best Hell in a Cell match of all time. And one of my favorite matches of all time, by the way, is already a Hell in a Cell match. The Undertaker versus Triple H, end of an era. Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker, No Mercy 2002. Like, there's some amazing Hell in a Cell matches. I just love this one so much because of,
Mm.
you said it actually. This isn't a Hell in a Cell match. This was a match that required to be in a Hell in a Cell to keep the violence, brutality, and the grudge between these two encapsulated within a singular place. I love that this didn't go outside of the cell. I love that this didn't have some crazy high flying moves. It was just gratuitous violence that was earned. And because it was earned, because the storyline allowed for all of these disgusting things that they were doing to each other to feel warranted, it didn't feel gratuitous. It didn't feel like over the top violence. It felt like all violence that was justified. And I don't know if that makes me like a sadistic human being,
Yes.
but man, I adored this match so much that to me, it really hindered the rest of the show moving forward. I was flat for the rest of the show. And so was the crowd in Atlanta, from what I could hear.
It was one of those shows that you will always remember. And it was one of those shows that you appreciate the artistry of CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. There were so many moments that you felt that they were actually locked in. For example, when Drew McIntyre was pleading, begging to CM Punk, like, please stop this. And the blood runs down his face and he goes, look at me, please, Punk, don't do this to me. Like, that moment, I was like, oh my God, so good. And not only that, the actual technical wrestling that happened and when it did happen was really fantastic. When you rate a Hell in a Cell, Santi, we kind of talked about it in the match club that we had on Patreon. Is like we always go creativity in the match, like the creativity of the cage use. There was all that was there. The toolbox was a fun little wrinkle. It didn't go over the board with it. There wasn't like a screwdriver where someone could get stabbed. Instead, it was like wrenches and things of that sort. So there's many interesting wrinkles to the match, and just the amount of spots that were just brutal, and it sticks with you. I can remember all the spots that happened. The suplex to the outside was crazy. The bump he took on the stairs from doing a Claymore that he missed when he landed right on the edge. Good Lord, that was a sickening thud. And what's interesting is when you say it's the best Hell in a Cell match, I have a hard time giving points to other matches. Because, like, I love Taker versus Shawn where Kane debuted. That was a big moment. But when you say that it's just about CM Punk and Drew, that moment was about Kane and Undertaker, right? It wasn't about Shawn and Taker. The thing about Triple H versus Undertaker, end of the era, it wasn't just about Undertaker and Triple H. It was about Shawn Michaels being there as well.
And the ending of an entire generation of professional wrestling. There's so much more that added to the context of what made the match great.
Right. And then that whole moment of will the streak end? Shawn Michaels super kick into the pedigree, into the kick out.
Yeah.
So that, to me, the reason it's such a memorable moment in that it's such a milestone. It's hard to beat that one in terms of the context of the entire legacy of the WWE. But man, I would have to say that CM Punk definitely cemented his place as a Mount Rushmore possibly and a Hall of Famer in the WWE in this current run. But I want to say, man, Drew McIntyre has now elevated himself to be on the cusp of not only a Hall of Famer, because I feel like he was already a Hall of Famer just about how many years he's been in WWE, but possibly being one of the best of this era.
I think you were hitting it on the head here. I think that the biggest winner of this is Drew McIntyre. Because CM Punk, like, we expect this type of amazing work from CM Punk. I mean, we expect the in-ring stuff from Drew McIntyre as well. But, like, the storytelling stuff, like, that's stuff that we just, by default, just assume Punk is going to be great at. But yeah. Drew McIntyre, throughout this entire feud, and really throughout 2024, has just elevated himself to be on the level of the CM Punks of the world when it comes to storytelling. And that's a really difficult thing to do. I've talked about before where, like, if you are not on the same level as mic workers and storytellers like CM Punks and the Rocks and the John Cenas of the world and the Paul Heymans, you're gonna look like crap. Like, you're going to look like you don't belong there. And that was not the case with Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre looks so good, Sancho, that I said that I would not hate if Drew McIntyre retired Cena. That's how much Drew McIntyre has elevated himself in my eyes. Maybe he doesn't retire Cena, but I think it would be a missed opportunity if he isn't one of the feuds for Cena in his retirement tour at the very minimum.
I think after this match, Drew McIntyre has earned himself a place at the table to be considered to retire CM Punk.
Sure. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. This is going to go down as I would say maybe a top 3 CM Punk feud of all time. Like, there's the Jeff Hardy feud, the Cena feud, and now I got to talk about Drew McIntyre, and I'm talking WWE. Like, I love the MJF feud as well. Don't get me wrong, but like when it comes to WWE and the legacy in the E-Fed, it might be in the top 3 now. If not, I think I like it better than the Cena feud even.
I think it's wild to me that there's so much more in the tank for CM Punk.
Yeah,
like when Seth Rollins comes out and looks at CM Punk, you're like, oh my God, we have this too. It's a spoil of riches, man. It's a spoil of riches. And that's why it just breaks. It doesn't break my heart. It is literally like watching your favorite football team commit a penalty, a holding penalty after a great play. That's why when Crown Jewel comes around, you're like, yeah, I guess we got to do this. But if it helps the boys and helps all the girls out there, it helps everybody in production, puts food on the table. I mean, I understand why they got to go through it.
Sure.
it's just a bummer to see, like, we're gonna have to put so much on hold to take care of that unnecessary. Because when CM Punk, who granted needs time to recover, comes out with Seth Rollins, I'm like, yes, give me more of this. And then when Gunther and Braun Breaker have a stare down, I'm like, yes, give me more of this.
But
and then when you got Cody and Gunther, I'm like, I literally went, all right, we're doing this. But to be fair, Saudi Arabia, we always talked about, is non-canon, but isn't this like Night of Champions essentially?
Okay.
Right?
Look,
Right?
I want to come back to bad.
Help me understand that.
I want to get back to back blood at one point to talk about The Rock, but I feel like we need to talk about this. Here's my opinion on the whole thing. I feel like this is actually setting back the Saudi Arabian shows by like 5 years. The Saudi Arabian shows were making strides and moving forward and making them feel like canon shows. Like you couldn't miss them because major story beats would happen at these shows. And that's what's been going on for the last like 2 years since Triple H took over. This feels like we're reverting back to the 2010s of Saudi shows, hopefully not in terms of quality, but just in terms of how important they feel for storytelling. Because so far, I'm sure the show is going to be amazing, but if you miss this show, I'm willing to bet you're going to be fine on the next episode of Monday Night Raw in terms of storytelling, because this is just a big glorified exhibition, Sancho. It is a super WrestleMania house show is what this is becoming. It is a WrestleMania level house show because obviously I'm pumped to see Gunther versus Cody Rhodes. It's going to be fantastic, but it's not going to change anything. It's not going to move the needle per se on storytelling. And that to me is what I'm saying when I say that the Saudi shows are taking a couple steps back with this, because they went from necessary must-watch canon events to, and maybe it'll still be that, by the way, who knows, to feeling like it's another one of those extra story arc, like side mission, side quests, could be missable exhibition shows. This is what Crown Jewel feels like right now on paper.
It's like when Scooby-Doo hangs out with the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah. Yes,
like, all right.
That's exactly it.
That's too old of a reference for you?
Yes, no, I get that reference. I do get that reference. But you want to know what obviously we can talk about the quality of like storytelling. And the problem, you already hit on it, is that like a lot of things have to take a pause. Like things have to take a pause to allow for Crown Jewel to develop and happen so that we can get to the actual story arcs from each individual show of Raw and SmackDown to continue to develop into something meaningful. Because it can't develop into something incredibly meaningful at Crown Jewel because of this handcuff that we've put on ourselves.
Instead of giving Kevin Owens versus Cody at Crown Jewel, Cody Rhodes has to not acknowledge what happened to him and act like it didn't happen, to have a stare down with Gunther with a broken nose almost. Like that's what's so strange about it. But to go back to Bad Blood, yes, CM Punk Drew took the win out of the cells. It just completely. I don't think you would have had I would have never had a problem if it was Roman Cody versus Jacob Fatu Solo, followed by Cody by CM Punk and Drew. I think I would have been that moment of CM Punk collapsing. That would have been the greatest logo moments in a long time.
I want to call my wife, he says as he's stumbling down.
And then the logo happens, and then it's like
that should have ended the show.
Yeah, right.
Like here's the thing. I get why it didn't. It's a tough justification for WWE to say, Rock, you're not main eventing. I get it. I totally get it. But in terms of like what I was the most excited about, what I thought was the best piece to end the show was the Hell in a Cell match. And I was preaching this for so long that you need to just, I was, and I'm glad that I was vindicated, not by the general reaction as well, but by the video package on Monday Night Raw.
Yep, they did it like that.
They ended it with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. So to me, it's even WWE saying that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre should have main evented the show. But like, you can't tell The Rock, welcome back, you're opening the show. I get it. That's such a difficult position to be in.
That's what Triple H said I actually enjoyed the press conferences more as well.
I didn't watch it, by the way, so I'm like living it through right now.
Triple H goes, whenever The Rock wants to come by with his limited time, because he's the most popular man on earth, whenever he wants to come by, we have to take it granted, be grateful for it, which is so bizarre for me, because Triple H went from he doesn't control whatever. He's not the boss. I'm the CEO type of thing to we're grateful for The Rock to grace us with his presence. Like literally within one almost 4-month cycle, that's where we are with Triple H and The Rock. I wish he didn't really put The Rock up.
Oh, look at that. We've lost Sancho. I'm guessing he didn't want The Rock to be put over. Hang on, Sancho. Hang on just a second, all right?
I'm here now. I'm here.
You're back. You're saying that he shouldn't have put over The Rock as much.
He shouldn't put over The Rock as much, and at the same time, I don't think it hurts The Rock's legacy to be in the middle of a PLE or the second to the PLE, it's the second fiddle, considering that it would still be a memorable moment. And the fact that he did absolutely nothing. The man came out, music came out, and people are like, oh, 3 targets. That's what I mean. No, he said 1, 2, 3, hit my music.
Hit my music. That's what it was.
That's what it was. But I interpreted The Rock coming out, the return of The Rock is a great way to say like, hey, we're on the road to something bigger again, and we're about to get things started earlier than WrestleMania season, which is interesting, which speculates that The Rock maybe would wrestle at Survivor Series and War Games. But what I feel as well as The Rock came out, he was just disappointed. That's the vibe that I got, is the complete different from Jimmy Uso. Jimmy was like, here, I'm here for Roman. I'm here no matter what. And even though you're with Cody, you gave Cody his word. So it's an interesting vibe from Jimmy Uso to say that we need to help Cody because you gave him his word, versus The Rock coming out and going, I'm disappointed in all this. I'm going to raise the eyebrow. He's basically like, ooh, you and Cody? Roman and Cody? Eyebrow raise.
Eyebrow raise.
Solo's being the trouble. I'm out. Like, it's weird.
Yes. Did you see that there was a moment between Solo and Jacob Fatu in the crowds? Again, not cameras on them trying to create those organic viral moments.
Yes, and it's all part of the plan.
It's all part of the plan. Again, it's all really, really smart marketing tactics from the WWE. With this moment and the Kevin Owens moment, it's so smart because it kept WWE on the tip of everyone's tongue well after Bad Blood ended. I feel like it took over the zeitgeist over UFC and what was happening there, because people were still talking about those organic moments that were happening on screen. Okay, here's the thing, Sancho.
Yes.
The Rock, the 1, 2, 3, it was totally hit my music. You know what The Rock and his team are really good at? Making nuances and making sense out of things that The Rock does and seeing what the people say and then turning it into things. I guarantee you, when The Rock eventually comes back and actually cuts a promo, that 1, 2, 3 is going to mean something, because he's like, oh, somebody came up with a really good idea about this meaning something. Let's go with that. Yeah. Let's make it so like everyone always has to pay attention to what like the nuances of The Rock's body language. But you're right. It is 1, 2, 3, hit my music. Guarantee you, couple days he got to the back. Oh, people are saying that like maybe it's 1, 2, 3 triple threat match of WrestleMania 41. 1 strike for losing to Cody, 2 strikes for teaming up with Cody, and third strike for beating up your family with Cody. Or 1, 2, 3, I pinned you at WrestleMania, Cody. So many people are coming up with things that I bet you, because The Rock steals things from social media. I know it. I know that he does. He's gonna use one of those things on one of his promos.
Speaking of the social media stuff, did you see that he was on Instagram Live when he walked out, when he came back? Oh, dude, you could see how charismatic he is walking out the entire time. He told a security guard, hey, man, you look good. If I had a sister, I'll go get you with her. I don't have a sister. And then he told the Dusty Photos, like, I love you, man. Hard times. I hate your son. And then he told the John Cena's, like, go eat Fruity Pebbles. And then he walked away. Like, so many good things that The Rock just brings that excitement that you got to be on. And I think he raises everybody's like intensity, and that's what's cool. But I would have loved to have CM Punk to say something about not main eventing.
And the fact that Dwayne is in the main event of Bad Blood and I'm not makes me sick.
Did you notice as well, someone else is doing some reactions to wrestling on the socials? A new player has entered the fray.
Yeah, the Maverick.
The Maverick Logan Paul watching Bad Blood, putting his own little reactions up there, like Santi and Sancho and others like Wheezy, and Conman and Tesh and Minnie. But I find it interesting that he did that. And then when The Rock came out, I was like, yeah, The Rock. always making it about himself. I was like, ooh, please.
Dude, Logan's trying
versus The
really
Rock.
hard. He's trying
He wants
so
that.
hard. He
He wants
wants
that,
it.
man.
He's trying to make it a reality. I don't know that The Rock will indulge it, but he's trying so hard to make that happen.
That storyline would cut really deep. It would be a very personal story for Logan. And
For
it'd be
Logan.
an interesting layer. Right. And it'd be interesting to see The Rock, this man who has this persona and his image that he protects so like hardcore, to be challenged by someone, Logan Paul, whose image has tarnished, right, because of what happened, and for someone to turn his back on Logan was The Rock. Like, there's so much good stuff in there, bro.
Yeah, but like, I don't blame The Rock for disassociating with Logan. That's the thing. It's a tough sell for me to sympathize with Logan for what happened. But hey, it's interesting. I could just sense Logan trying so hard to make it a thing.
Oh yeah, it's smart though.
It is
Logan.
very, 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 very smart. But I think we need to hit some other levels first. Like, I think the celebrity match that everybody wants to see is him and Bad Bunny, because they're parallel. They're intertwined.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Like, there's just so much discussion because they came into the WWE both at Mania 37 with Bad Bunny with his match and Logan Paul appearing in Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. They've been parallel to one another and compared to one another as like, hey, look at these awesome celebrity involvements that have fundamentally evolved what we expect out of celebrities if they want to get that WWE paycheck. Like, we don't want celebrities to come in and get the quick, hey, how's it going? I'm Pee Wee Herman, and get that paycheck and never appear again. Like, we expect the celebrities, when they get themselves involved with the WWE, to earn it, right? Even if it's Jelly Roll. Hey, concert and choke slamming Austin Theory. Okay.
Austin Theory's idea, by the way.
But yeah, like we just don't want the quick cash grab anymore. We don't want the quick appearance anymore. And that was, to me, created by Bad Bunny and Logan Paul.
Logan Paul goes out and tells everybody, I'm Puerto Rican. I love, right?
I forgot about that context. You're right. There it is.
Dude, there it is. And then, oh my God.
Come on, bro. Dude, that if they were to go back to Puerto Rico, you need to run that. You actually got to run that.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. I completely forgot about Logan Paul being nationalized in Puerto Rico now.
Yeah, dude. He could kind of be like acting like he's the man of the people, and that they could have vignettes of him like giving out food and whatnot. I don't know.
Sure.
Right? Just to have that to build that up, and then, dude, and have that match there. Oh, Logan would be the biggest heel in the whole island, dude.
And bro, if he were to come out with like, because there's
the Puerto Rican flag and everything, yeah,
bro, I feel like it'd be crazy because there's so much beef in Puerto Rican reggaeton or reggae.
Yeah.
If you were to come out with one of Bad Bunny's like nemesis in reggae, or maybe not even a Puerto Rican reggae artist, because there's so many big Colombian reggae artists like Karol G and Maluma that he could absolutely go out there with, that would create so much heat for Logan Paul, because he's coming out with a Puerto Rican flag, but with a Colombian reggae artist. Come on, that'd be sick.
We're cooking here.
Man. Watch, man. Sometimes we cook and these things just sometimes materialize. You know, how long did we say about Drew McIntyre punting the dog?
He tweeted it out.
He tweeted it out. We said it like 6 months ago.
They're listening. Who are you in the WWE? Who are you? Who's watching?
One of you. Is one of you.
Is it Paul Heyman? Is it Paul, the wise man? When does Paul Heyman come back? Quick question. When does Paul Heyman come back before we leave?
It sounds like we're going to be getting like trickle down, right? Like, we got Jimmy. All right, piece one is back. I think next it's got to be Paul Heyman. I would love for the Paul Heyman return to be on SmackDown. I got to see what the SmackDown schedule looks like, because if there's like another, say, like MSG show, that's the place, right? I think you got to find like that big market, and that's where Paul Heyman comes back. If there's a Philadelphia show, right, the ECW roots, I don't know what the schedule looks like for WWE. I know that they're over in England this week, which is why they're pre-taping Raw. But
England,
oi,
does it come out, ladies and gentlemen? Big pop.
That's right? It's what you expect, right? I actually, before like the Rock stuff, when I thought for a second it wasn't going to happen, when Jimmy and Roman were walking off the ramp, I thought that the wise man was going to be at the top of the ramp at the entrance, waiting for them to embrace them. And I might have cried. I might have cried had that happened.
I know Paul Heyman now is a face in the eyes of everybody, just like Roman, but wouldn't it be weird and wild if he walked out with the Rock?
Well,
the wise man loves to tow himself to bigger waves and bigger boats.
It's possible.
It's always been his play.
It is possible, but that could also be a way to keep the Rock ambiguous. Is he with Roman or is he not with Roman? Right? Yeah. It could be a way to do that as well. So yeah, like there's a lot of place to do with Paul Heyman, but now that we've got the actual quarterback, Jimmy Uso, back calling plays, did you hear Roman? He's just like, you called that play?
Why are we talking about so much football? Like Xavier Woods is a quarterback. It's so weird, right? Everyone's
it's NFL season, man. It's NFL season.
True.
But yeah, Jimmy's back. And I also think, we've had like 5, maybe 6 different opportunities where fans have been like, that was the right spot to bring back Jimmy, right?
It was.
Do you think this was the right spot to bring back Jimmy? This one?
Yeah, because Roman had no family in his corner, and who better than to have Jimmy to be the first piece, like you mentioned. But it was a good emotional moment, and I feel that it was a great moment to know that Roman is no longer the only tribal chief. Like, he is not what is it Cody said, he will be a chief without a tribe. Mm-hmm. He actually has someone behind his back, and it's been Jimmy. It's been really cool. If it blows my mind, though, you forget that Jimmy and Jay are twins sometimes, because it's like they're so different still, right? Yeah. Like they move differently, and they have a different personality. And I miss Jimmy's personality, and I love how Jimmy's so slapstick about being a heel, and he's just so wild and obnoxious. Like him just running around the ring and doing the Superman punch alongside with Roman. It was cool, man. It feels like, I said, when someone comes back, and so many wrestlers and superstars came back this PLE, that the WWE is just stacked with talent, just insane. Like, we haven't even talked about the Viking Raiders, who are seemingly now coming back. Like, and then the Motor City Machine Guns, they are just stacked with talent.
NXT on CW just torching, bro. It's crazy right now. It's so crazy that you have to be like, how did we lose an hour and not gain one?
I know. Like, and the wild to me is like, they were saying like, we don't know we're gonna have 3 hours on Netflix, dude. After that 2-hour Raw, you're gonna have to just give them that hour. I don't care if you put it on your YouTube, put it on Twitter. I don't care. Put an hour somewhere, because the talent is just too stacked.
Put it on patreon.com/SamiZap.
Whoa.
I'm willing to put that out there, like at WWE, if you want. We'll give you a cut.
Hey, dude, we can't afford that.
No, we can't.
We can put in a bid. But it ain't gonna last long.
$2 a month. We talked a little bit about this as well. The matches that maybe now need to be on PLEs because of how much shorter of a time we have on Raw. Let's talk about those 2 PLE feeling matches that I feel like under a previous regime would have definitely been behind a paywall. The Tongans winning the ladder match and the dumpster match. I've said this before, like under Vince McMahon, you're paying for that. You're paying for both of those matches. They would have been on PL. Last Monster Standing, Wyatt 6 versus American Made. You're paying for that. It's just the strategy's different now to allow these stories to marinate, begin and end their life cycle on Raws and SmackDown. And I like it. I personally am enjoying it. Things might change now with Raw being 2 hours. You might have to put some more things on PLEs. But, man, that ladder match was fantastic. I love the dumpster match. It was so goofy. To me, it hit every note that it needed to hit.
And it did it efficiently. And that's what I mean, that SmackDown's roster knows how to get stuff in, or whoever produces the matches understands the segments, understands the flow of the show. The fact that Piper was still involved, and Piper with her little cowboy hat came out, and she did her bump holding onto that. And then I love that the follow-up that they had on the PLE with the Chelsea just smelling the whole time, can't get rid of that stench. I love that they're going to keep up that. And Piper was like, I'm going to stay here and hang out in the suite with Jey Uso, so I'm not leaving. So there's some cool things in Chelsea, man. Again, we talked about it. Can't take L's. She took that L and she turned it into the glorious W, that what makes Chelsea Green so awesome. She made it a memorable moment, coming back, putting trash all over her popping her head out of the dumpster. And at the same time, Michin, dude, being a great, reliable talent and worker to be able to do that power bomb spot in the dumpster. There's not a lot of room for error in that to hit that power bomb and not smack Chelsea's head on the side of it. Fun match, dude. And I feel that Michin is getting into this realm. It kind of feels like ECW, right? Because she comes out with the trash cans multiple times in the dumpster match, but I'm kind of getting like, and a lot of people like to say Stone Cold vibes, and I know Stone Cold vibes gets thrown out a lot, especially with like LA Knight. But I'm trying to find out what wrestler she reminds me of.
I mean, she's kind of giving me vibes of like Raven.
Yes.
A little bit of Raven vibes as well. Because Raven would come out sometimes with weapons, just kind of ready for whatever brutal fight is about to come is about to come about. And I feel just like Raven, I feel like a lot of people still just don't see the talent of Michin. I've been preaching about Michin. Nice little rhyme there. Preaching about Michin since December when I saw her match against Io Sky, and I was like, that match was way too good. We need more Michin, and I'm glad that we're getting more Michin. And, you know, to talk a little bit more about the women, Sancho, after this great match, how entertaining it was, how great the feud was, how good the stuff that's been going on in the women's mid-card has been. This is why I, alongside so many people, were disappointed that they announced the super uber duper mega important crown jewel championship instead of the women's mid-card. Look, I don't think that awarding a new women's champion at Crown Jewel is the greatest idea. It's not the best crowd, but right, it would be so progressive if the Saudi government is like, we want to have this image that all of WWE can advance here, including women's wrestling. Would it have gotten a great reaction? No, but it's progressive.
They're getting better, though.
It's an attempt, right? And I could appreciate that attempt. That would have been the perfect place to crown Jewel a new women's mid-card champion. And it was an interception, like you said, you know, bringing it back to football to not announce that and announce something that, in my opinion, Sancho, is incredibly tone deaf. No one asked for this. Absolutely nobody asked for this.
Just for the people that don't watch football, interception is when the ball is thrown by the quarterback and it goes into the other side.
It's an own goal. It's an own goal.
Turnover. It's a turnover. It's like, you know, you ever like get nugs? You get delicious nugs and they're crispy. You could smell them in the bag. And then when you get to where you're home, your destination, you probably sneak a nug here and there, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And there's no dipping sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything worse than that? When there's no dipping sauce and nugs?
Wait, what are you comparing this to?
I'm comparing it to the crown jewel. We saw the little belt there.
Oh, yeah.
Hitting this round. We're like, oh, yeah. It's going to be a delicious nug sitting there underneath. You could smell it. And then when you pull it off and you're like, no, there's no sauce.
No dipping sauce. Where's the sweet and sour?
You were so close. And that belt is, God, and I like how O'Shea Jackson was like, well, you're going to have to buy this belt too. You're going to buy that belt? You're going to put that belt behind your brother?
No, I'm not buying that.
Here's my problem with the crown jewel thing. You kind of talked about it earlier. Here's my side of the whole thing. In terms of everything, Triple H said you're going to find a clean, definitive winner at crown jewel for this belt. Why put the undisputed versus heavyweight title up for grabs when this whole time you've been trying to build up the heavyweight title as not something that's a secondary title that's on par with the undisputed, and then you're going to have this match to figure out who's the better wrestler between the two champions for a belt that is only fought over annually, but that's not even defended, and it's as if it's a prize. It doesn't it make sense?
No, you can't. It's no different, Sancho. It is no different than the greatest Royal Rumble belt.
Yes, I agree.
It is no different than I don't want to mess up the name. There is a name for a trophy that the Undertaker won, and then there was Shane McMahon winning the best in the world. Like, these are all meaningless accolades. You know, you could have done the same. This is why I really liked where the Saudi shows were going, because they did King and Queen of the Ring over there, individual accolades that could have not mattered, but they made them matter, which is why you needed to watch King and Queen of the Ring. This is a meaningless thing. It's for both the men and the women. I do not care who walks away with this title. I'm there for the zip line. I'm there to see the good match. I'm there to see good wrestling, but it's just not going to impact storytelling at all, at least with how it is on paper. Maybe they'll find a way.
Is this accolade worse than the Andre the Giant Battle Royal Memorial Trophy?
I have no idea. Honestly, like it.
Is this the equivalent of the WWE Speed Champion? Like, let's figure out where this belt is.
No,
in the history.
Look, at least the Speed Championship is something somewhere else. By the way, it's the Two-Wake Trophy. It's the Two-Wake Trophy. Did you forget about it? Bet you did, because it's meaningless prize. I'm sorry if Two-Wake has some special meaning, by the way. I'm talking about just like the physical prize that Undertaker won.
I'm sure Undertaker doesn't even have that prize in his house.
Sorry, what was your question?
My question is, where does this belt rank amongst all the accolades? Is it worse than a Slammy?
No, it's up there because, and the reason it's up there is because they're trying to make it canon. They're putting it on a PLE, something that major superstars are vying for, and that's great. It's higher than the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. It's higher than all of them. It really is higher than all of those. The problem is it can be higher than all of those. It's just that no one was asking for this.
Is it higher than the hardcore title?
Well, the hardcore title was an actual title. It's not even comparable. It's not something that you can compare. The hardcore title had storylines that allowed different winners to happen throughout the year. This is a one-time achievement.
Is it better than a 24/7 championship?
You can make the argument that it's not. Because the 24/7 championship, like I didn't like the storylines that went with it.
You could have won that. You could have won that belt.
Yeah, I could have won that belt. But again,
imagine you would have won the belt with a roll-up.
But at least it was something that was developed and had storyline to it. It wasn't good, but this, again, it's a one-time meaningless achievement. What is the point of winning this? Is it literally just bragging rights? Because if it's bragging rights, then I don't care.
You and I could have done the 24/7 where I like went behind them and then you pushed them and they fell over.
I zesty pinned them. We the zesty pin brothers them and then we're co-champions.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay. How about let's have some fun with this. I know we don't want to rag it down completely, but aesthetically, how does it look?
I hate it.
Interesting. You hate all the diamonds on it?
It's obnoxiously large, bro. If I'm a wrestler and I win this, I was like, I don't want to have to carry this through international airports. It's so beefy.
I think it stays. No, they're gonna have to travel with it and show up on a Monday Night Raw because there's gonna be like a
probably.
Yeah. All right. Well, where do you rank it in terms of belts? Is it as bad as the spinner belt that's behind you?
First of all, I love the spinner belt. All right.
Okay.
You got the wrong audience in saying that the spinner belt sucks.
Is it bad? Is it bad than that? There's a belt down there. I don't know if you
the Chargers belt.
Yeah. Is it as bad as those belts?
Okay.
No, that belt's pretty hot. That belt's pretty hot.
Come on. It's so obnoxious and over the top, man. It's like overcompensating. It's like, oh, you're the world champion. Where this is the bigger world championship, literally and figuratively.
Is as bad as those tag team dinner plate belts? That was pretty bad.
That was pretty bad.
It's pretty up there. Speaking of which, what's happening with the tag team divisions? I don't even know. We were talking about a second ago, the SmackDown ladder match. Shout outs to Triple H for trusting Tongaloa to be on that ladder. I was like, good Lord.
Brother, I was holding my breath the entire time. I really was. I really was. I think it's a good idea to have him win, though, because he was not part of the initial victory. So I feel like this helps cement him as like a legitimate holder of that tag team championship. But because of his reputation, man, every step I was like, please don't fall. Please don't fall for the love of God. And I almost felt that from Tama Tonga. Tama Tonga comes in. Let me just hold this ladder for you. Okay. Let me just hold this down so that you don't slip and fall.
And I just like how Tongaloa is like, you know what? I'm going to go to the top step. And you're like, no, you don't need to do that.
I felt like John Bernthal in The Punisher. Wait. No. That's like, please don't.
And I was like, does he know how to unhook it? Because it's like, you don't take the belt off, you take the hanger off, the whole thing. Oh my God, the trust. But that was a good match in itself. That match kind of picked up near the end, and I'm glad that Jacob Fatu wasn't involved. It was just the Tongans doing their thing. It's interesting to have DIY and Street Profits, two faces, fight against each other, and that causes them to lose it to the Bloodline. The only thing I did not enjoy was like, literally they put the Bloodline in like situations where they knocked them out completely, but they were able to recover pretty quickly. And I think that's because it's time. That's why I was like, you were like saying like if you would have normally paid behind this for a paywall. But I think if it was on a PLE, even in not bad blood, but if it has more time on a PLE, we would have that like a more of a longer segment between Street Profits versus DIY, where it's more back and forth versus like, all right, we're gonna run up to the ladder and then we're just gonna fall off the ladder because of its our undoing. But overall, it was a really great SmackDown thing to have. And the dumpster match, like, dude, both on the same night of SmackDown. That's why it's the A show.
And the return of AJ Styles. We haven't talked about this.
Oh my God. Is it real? Because people are saying like it's like the MRIs and that I've never the reason why I don't know, and as someone who's been watching wrestling for years, they never really show injuries beyond the fact of them leaving the arena, even if they are hurt on camera on the mat. They never really zoom in with the doctor talking. And for me, it felt over like too produced. But at the same time, I thought this is what they do in sports. This is what they do when a quarterback gets hurt. They show him in the tent. They show him talking to doctors. They show him on the sideline. They show him in the locker room. They show him all. And it's like, if this is a legit injury, is this a pivot by the WWE to one, make AJ more face and show him going through these injuries so that if he is injured and he is actually out, then when he comes back, we'll get sympathy and he'll be actual face. Because it felt weird when he's like, hey, I'm back. And everyone's like, wait a minute. Didn't you just pretend that you were here? Wait, I was like, wait a minute, AJ. Don't come back and act like you're like the face that runs the place because you're a heel, brother. But man, that really sucked, dude. And for to happen during Carmelo's match, I was like, man, we were on the cusp of a banger.
Yeah, look, WWE is either doing a really great job of blurring the lines of what's real and what's not. Actually, I don't think there's an either. I think they're just doing that. They're just doing a really good job of blurring the lines of what's real or not, because it seemed, like you said, it was so overproduced and they put such a spotlight on it. Not only when it happened, but then showing him in the back with the doctor like that. I don't think I've ever seen that for a legitimate injury ever. But then to have these reports come out that, who knows, maybe they're fake reports saying that like he actually is legitimately injured, has me now going from, that was a work, brother, nice try, to like, oh, wait, hold on, what? So they've successfully, with me, blurred the line of what's real and what's fake. And this is just what WWE is slowly becoming incredibly good at. We saw it with the Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes thing, right? I hope he's not hurt. I hope it is just a storyline, because the storyline could make a lot of sense. Like, he's just too old. He just can't hang with the young guns anymore. And it'd be ironic, poetically ironic, to go from a fake retirement angle into maybe a real retirement angle moving forward. Right?
Maybe Mello did call him an old timer.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, that's kind of hard.
I'm telling you what match I want for Saudi Arabia. Okay, you ready?
Oh, wow.
AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Logan shows up for every single Saudi show. There's nothing right now for Logan Paul because he doesn't make sense in the United States Championship picture. But Logan Paul being like the quintessential, look at me, I'm so much more vigorous and younger than you. I've got prime. I've got Lunchley. I'm a megastar. I'm the future of this. I'm the one who steals the show, versus an aging AJ Styles. Logan Paul, from a character point of view, could see that as a wounded lion that he could easily execute and take the credit for retiring AJ Styles. I feel like that could be a really interesting storyline and just a really good match.
So what do you think? AJ comes out in crutches and he's like, hey, I'm this is it. It's my last one. I'll take on any challenger. And Logan answers the call.
Yeah, I would love for Logan to literally just go out there and make fun of him for being old, for being
Soccer mom.
Yeah, like he has he can use whatever ammo he has because they give Logan no filter, and yeah, you can't mention anything about Logan's past. It is how it is. But if the story is the lion about like on his last legs, figuratively and literally, then I think Logan Paul could actually make an interesting storyline out of this. Logan Paul has historically been a part of every Saudi show since he's joined the WWE. They clearly like him over there.
Yeah.
Why not? Give me AJ Styles, Logan Paul, a brand new match for both of them.
You think well, Logan loses, though? Logan has to lose. AJ has to. This can't be the end of AJ.
No, I don't think it would be the end of AJ, but I don't think that AJ has to win. I don't think so. It could be more like continuous, like casting doubt on AJ's ability of what he's got left. Look, I don't care really. Who cares about the result? It's Crown Jewel. It's an exhibition. It doesn't matter what happens there.
It's a good point, man. It's a good point. I just don't like the idea of AJ retiring here because he has so much in the tank, dude. I like AJ.
I know. I obviously love AJ as well.
I like AJ.
Just quickly going back as well. You mentioned great work from Tongaloa winning the tag titles. That they weren't
climbing the ladder.
Climbing the ladder. That they didn't need Jacob Fatu, but Jacob Fatu, that promo. Damn, brother. That promo was slick. It was so good. He did accidentally say tribal tree instead of tribal chief at one point, but it's just because he's so intense. He's so good.
Dog, he could call him the tribal tree, and I would agree. I don't care.
I'm not going to disagree with him. Are you going to disagree with Jacob Fatu?
No, but that reminded me like of when Devon would go like testify, like all that intensity that he had. I kind of wish that he cut that at Bad Blood instead because it got me going. And I think it was a great play to make to put him in the back and it's so good, dude. It was so good, and I'm glad that Jacob Fatu they're not rushing him, man. They're not throwing him out there. They're slow piecing him. They're giving him things that he can control and handle. And who knows if that was pre-taped or not, but regardless, phenomenal work from Jacob Fatu. And it just shows you that they have something here and they're going to have to do it right. I don't think that they can do much wrong with him. I think he could take an L here. He could take an L close soon. The only mistake that they would make is that they put a singles belt on him too soon. That's the only thing that they can do. They just keep him on this path, keep him being the enforcer, let him be Solo's quote unquote dog, and let him just do all that, and then show these little moments that he can do more, and that they could tease us. Because dude, Triple H loves to tease us a lot. He teased us with CM Punk and Seth. He teased us with Jay and Seth because he came out because they're running out of time. There's so many things he loves to tease us, and this is a great tease of Jacob Fatu's potential as I dare I say, a heavyweight champion. Imagine if he just showed up on Raw.
Woo! I mean, we're talking about teases. We had the moment of Cody Rhodes giving Jacob Fatu that title opportunity, but then Jacob Fatu turning it down, right? So we already have that in play, right? It's in the ecosystem already. But to me, this promo just demonstrated that Jacob Fatu is the whole package, man. He's the real deal in every single regard. We already have seen how good he is in the ring, how intense and how entertaining his matches and his crazy spots can be and are. But this was the one unknown. What kind of storyteller is Jacob Fatu? And I say that as somebody that isn't entirely familiar with his whole body of work in MLW and in the indies.
GCW,
yeah. But like people routinely that said, no, Jacob can talk. Jacob can absolutely cut promos. I've heard that before. It's just I hadn't really seen it in this environment in the WWE. And now that I've seen it, now that I've seen more than just the brooding, angry enforcer gimmick, now I know that if WWE were ever, and it's funny that we're using the dog analogy here, unleash this dog and allow him to run rampant by himself, that he doesn't just have to rely on his physical gifts and how incredibly good he is from a physical standpoint. He can carry himself from a narrative and conversational point of view as well, because that promo to me was weirdly a coming out party for Jacob Fatu. Again, another coming out party for Jacob Fatu.
He has no holes in his game, my guy. He's a raw talent. Some may say the Wembanyama of the WWE. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I don't know what you're saying.
I'm a Spurs fan. Victor Wembanyama. Wemby.
Thanks for Thanks for Kawhi.
Oh,
Thanks for Kawhi.
you could take him, dude.
We did, and we got a championship out of it. Thanks, bums.
Yeah, and then tank your franchise for the rest of the time.
Don't matter. We won. It literally doesn't matter. I know we're super quick here. Super sidebar. We as Raptors fans have already said that our franchise has earned 15 years of grace period to do whatever they want after they won that championship. You can tank, you can be terrible. 15 years because Canadian sports, we don't win the big ones anymore. Our hockey teams, even though all the Canadian players are in the States and it's still basically Canadians winning the championship, our Canadian teams haven't won since 1993. Our MLB teams haven't won since 1994. So they won. They've earned the 15-year grace period. They could do whatever they want. We sold our soul to the devil and it was worth it. 2019 champions, go Raps, go.
Wow. Wow. You know what? You know what's my favorite thing that's happening right now?
Tell me.
The thing that I get excited for, the thing is probably on the top of the new Heat order, which we're not there yet, is my man Gunther, baby.
Bill Goldberg.
Dude. Dude, I've never seen anyone talk so much like cheap heat to Bill Goldberg ever in my life than that segment at Bad Blood. Like,
I have 3 minutes for you, Bill.
He called him a one trick pony. He said that his son you should be disappointed in his father.
He said, what did he say? That your son would be lucky if you're a better dad than you were a professional wrestler or something like that. Dude, it's so good.
Atlanta, in the heart of Bill Goldberg country, which I forgot was Bill Goldberg country.
Played for the Falcons.
Played for the Falcons, and it was WCW's like backyard, basically. But to do that, and I you know what? The internet wrestling community, I hate us sometimes. Because now why do we want to see Gunther versus Goldberg? No.
Wait. I don't want to see that.
You know, I don't want to see that. Why is everybody like, yeah, I would like to see that? Oh,
no.
You want to see Goldberg eat a power bomb and then spear Gunther and then pin him? And there was people out there like, oh, yeah, okay, this is great. You get the belt off of Sami. You get the belt off of Gunther, put it on Sami. It'd be Cody and Sami, and then you have Gunther versus Goldberg. You're like, no. You know what happened to the Fiend when the Goldberg had him? No.
I couldn't
do it.
You and I are on the same train here. I should put on a conductor hat for this one because, man, when all this Goldberg stuff was happening, I'm like, man, Gunther's so good. This shit-eating heel persona that he has where he's so good at backhanded compliments. My goodness, he's just gotten so much better on the microphone, and this character of his is spot on. It works
in like
so
two,
well.
3 feuds. Ever since Damien.
Yeah. He's just been absolutely crushing it. To the point where, like, okay, it was cool that he clowned on Goldberg there for a while, but if this is destination Gunther versus Goldberg, I don't want to see that in any capacity whatsoever, in any way, shape, or form. Please, because one, if Gunther wins, it's just a filler feud. It's literally just a filler feud, and we've had already 2 filler feuds for Gunther, Randy and Sami Zayn. Right? Those are meaningful, but they were filler because we knew Gunther was going to win them, because we just needed Gunther to get those asterisks off of his back and off of his reign so we can get to new championship reigns. If he just beats Gunther in a PLE match, let's say it's not Saudi, let's say it's Survivor Series or Royal Rumble. Goldberg. Yeah, Goldberg. It's just filler. It's more filler when the roster is already so vast and so stacked that we'd rather see Gunther take on these meaningful feuds that can actually like give us something of worth. And Goldberg just ain't that, brother.
You ever like had a fancy dinner plan, like a date, but you're like, you look over and you see that little bag of chips and you're like, maybe I should eat this bag of chips instead of waiting for the delicious, decadent 5-star dinner. Bill Goldberg's that bag of chips. It's the right call for now, but then you're going to regret eating all those calories, drinking that sugary Baja Blast. And you're going to wish you save that ass for a delicious meal. You know what I'm saying?
Especially if the Baja Blast and the chips pin you. They win. If they give you diarrhea and you have to, they give you diarrhea and you can't have the meal anymore and you have to drop your championship because of it.
They give you food poisoning.
Yeah, they give you food poisoning, so you have to cancel your plans for the fancy dinner. That's what would happen to Gunther, man.
Do you know like the risk of it all for having Bill Goldberg, who could possibly concuss himself, which he's already done before, and the risk of
Bill
hurting Gunther? That is a risk because he almost hurt Taker. The risk of not being able to jackhammer Gunther, which is what he has to do. That's the thing. Y'all don't understand. I lived through the Bill Goldberg reign of 100+ matches streak. There's only 3 things that Bill Goldberg wants to do: spear you, jackhammer you, and pin you. That's it. That's what he's known for. And the only reason why you would have Gunther jackhammered is for him to kick out of it. And Bill ain't gonna let you do that either. So it's so bizarre to me that we're so fickle and we want it. Do I want it? Sure, but it's gonna hurt Gunther's. Again, it's a pause to Gunther's run, and I know it's gonna have great things. Here's my canary in the coal mine. If we're gonna get the match, it's because Gunther does a jackhammer to somebody. And if he does it to somebody, then that is like, oh, you can't do someone else's move. But I can tell you this. It's not going to be as good as Goldberg's jackhammer as his prime. Oh, my God.
No, that good jackhammer was nasty. It's absolutely nasty.
As beautiful as Bill Goldberg's jackhammer in his prime. And it's kind of crazy to me that no one else has really tried to do that move. I can't even think of a wrestler who could probably do it so good because Bill
Jade Cargill does it.
Why? Jay does it, jackhammer?
Yeah, she's done a couple jackhammers.
You know who could? Hobbs could do a probably sick jackhammer.
Probably. Yeah.
AEW, yeah. Yo, speaking of which, hey, dude, Hurt Business, back in business, brother.
Yeah.
And then
okay.
Good old AEW.
But before that, you know, Sami Zayn and Gunther, because of this Goldberg stuff, were you kind of on the edge of your seat that Sami Zayn was actually going to win? Because it went from a foregone conclusion to like, oh God, they might be doing this. Oh no!
He turned it to bat, 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 bat. Put it on the yellow and red, brother. Ooh, he started hulking up. I was like, yeah. I fell into it, dude. I got hyped. I'm not gonna lie. You look at my reaction on my Instagram and TikTok. I got hyped because it was very Kenny Omega-esque to see the one kick out after the power bomb. But the difference is Kenny Omega immediately goes into offense. Sammy, was still hulking up. It was like the boss fight, and he started going. But then all of a sudden he clamped it down and closed it down. But I got nervous because, again, the idea, dropping the belt to Gunther, Cody versus Sammy, kind of a cool match. Still, you would believe that, Sammy again would be the underdog. And I don't think it would have hurt the heavyweight championship belt if Sammy lost to Cody.
Sure.
That's different.
So there was a couple of reasons why I was nervous. One, now that Goldberg was in the picture, right? I was like, oh boy, Goldberg's in the picture. Goldberg appears on Saudi shows. Who are we giving to Goldberg, right? In my beautiful headcanon, Sancho, it was still Gunther versus Cody Rhodes. Gunther wins. And then at Saudi, we feed Ludwig Kaiser to Goldberg, right? And then
I like that. Yeah.
Saudi gets Goldberg. Ludwig gets a big match. He loses. Yeah. He could sell like crazy for Goldberg, make him look great. And then we set up a one-off Survivor Series match between Goldberg and Gunther. That was my peachy world where we should go. And it might go that way. But with the introduction of Goldberg, okay?
Yes.
The fact that people were now fantasy booking Goldberg versus Gunther. The fact that Sami Zayn is incredibly popular in Saudi Arabia, a representative of the Muslim world for those that are in Saudi Arabia. They love Sami Zayn. He's huge over there.
He's their Hogan, yeah.
Like, it wouldn't have been crazy to think that there was enough of a bag given to say, we want our representative to come into Saudi Arabia as a big champion.
But that means Sammy would win the inaugural crown
he
jewel.
definitely would have, and it could have been, who's Kevin Owens is out there, and it would have worked, and it actually would have made sense. Kevin Owens has history with both of them, and Kevin Owens helped Sami Zayn win. Sami didn't want his help. Maybe he doesn't even know that the help happened, but it would have worked. It actually would have worked, and in my head, I was like, oh no, it makes sense. That's why I thought it might actually happen.
You see, we should be hired to come in to fix things. You know, no. Be like, all right, everybody, chill. This is what's gonna happen, and then you drop that, and everyone goes like,
Yes.
okay. Did you see that someone on TikTok posted the meme of you? I think it was you reacting to Santos Escobar coming out, and it's you smiling, and then you slowly fade to disappointment with Bill Goldberg's music.
I haven't seen that. No, that's funny.
It's a good one. It's a good one, dude. Dude, it's crazy that you're like a Bloodline member. Very memeable. Very memeable. I think that's one of your assets to your.
That's good.
Yes,
it's necessary in this world, in this economy of eyeballs that we're in, economy of ears for podcasts. Being memeable is a good thing. It keeps people coming back. It's a good community thing.
By the way, the people that are listening right now, we have addressed the Spotify issues, and we'll be on time. We'll be on time going forward.
The conductor has taken over, and now the train is on time.
Look at me. Hey, just to let you know, Raquel Rodriguez is back.
Mm-hmm.
The poor Raquel Rodriguez, man.
Okay, one thing I want to say. All right,
hit it.
I really need to address the IWC on this one.
Address.
All right,
it.
I said.
You know people.
I know people. I know the IWC.
You know them.
Listen, a month and a bit ago, I predicted Raquel Rodriguez was going to come back in this match. Everybody said, you're an idiot. That doesn't make any sense. Blah, 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 blah. Then it happens, and everybody's like, well, that was the most obvious thing that could have happened. No. You can't have it both ways. You cannot have it both ways. It's either stupid and doesn't make sense, or it's incredibly predictable. You need to figure it out, all right? I'm sorry. You can't diminish my awesome foresight just because all of a sudden it finally happened. And yes, I might get 9 out of the 10 things I predict wrong, but I got this one right. But dang it, man, the idea, brilliant. And I said it. This is how you give legs to this feud. You cannot have Liv Morgan for months and months and months for every single PLE cycle just be running away. You can't continue to do that. And you couldn't have Dominic Mysterio be the enforcer and the difference maker to attack Rhea Ripley. It just doesn't work. To me, Raquel just made a lot of sense. Tons of beef with Rhea Ripley, like legitimate beef. Like Rhea Ripley took her out as well. Let's not forget that, right? They had a big feud at this same time last year for the world title. You compared them to Shawn and Bret Hart.
Yes, I did.
Don't forget about that.
Right. And I'm right.
All right, sure. You know what? I won't touch that with a bag. I won't touch that. I won't touch that at all. And then before she left, she was still homies and recent tag champions with Liv Morgan.
Hi. I'm Sancho. I'm offering you a ticket to the Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart train of Rhea and Raquel. Would you like a ticket?
The Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels?
Yeah. They have that same chemistry. Would you like the ticket to the train?
I'm good. I'll pass.
Oh,
thank you. No, don't start to give me FOMO over these trains.
Okay.
Just because you now I have FOMO over the Karrion Kross train.
Just saying. You said no.
But I said that Raquel needed to just play the Diesel role. And brother, they maybe took it a little too literally.
I like it.
I like it too. She's driving for him. She's literally being menacing exactly like Diesel was, wearing the sunglasses that Diesel used to wear, wearing leather.
Yeah.
And I think it's smart. I think it's brilliant. Didn't talk throughout the whole thing either. This is how Diesel was during the two dudes with attitude era.
And by the way, Diesel was a big towering menace. And at the same time, Diesel protected Shawn like no other. And I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And hey, man, Raquel's the Hana bomb like a jackknife power bomb.
But the execution. Oh no. Man, they bungled that execution of the reveal of Raquel Rodriguez. I still don't know who screwed up. Somebody screwed up, right?
There's too many variables in the match. It was too complicated. You have the stunt. It's a stunt because of Dom falling out. It was a very controlled stunt, very well done. You have him dangling. You have Rhea caning him with a kendo stick like a piñata. I was like, stop it. There's no candy in this sweet man. And then you have Raquel who comes in, and the ref maybe was supposed to take a bump, or the ref was supposed to be distracted with Dom, or maybe Raquel wasn't supposed to stop.
I think Liv was supposed to be distracting the ref.
Either or. There's so many factors that you could probably book it to make sense, because I think Rhea was supposed to stop hitting him and then go into the ring and then maybe anyway, the point is it doesn't matter, all right? They made a video package where he erased everything about Liv getting put on top of Rhea for the pin. All that doesn't matter.
It's like when Damian Priest didn't kick out of the Falcon Arrow.
It does.
You know, we just it didn't happen.
Hey,
all right.
Come on, guys. Come on, everybody.
You didn't see it.
There it is. Let's all be cool about this, man. Because if we're gonna be so anchored down to the past, we're gonna miss out on, like we said, this potential Diesel and Shawn situation. I mean, because I'm watching all the Royal Rumbles, and when I saw Kevin Nash as Diesel come out and just clear the floor out of everybody, it was really cool to see Diesel in not his prime, because that's Kevin Nash in WCW, but then when Shawn and Diesel were together, they had this crazy chemistry of, hey, they're gonna help each other out, and they didn't at that Rumble. But dude, what I was gonna say, actually, now that it triggered it, this is the greatest hits. Once again, the WWE is reaching into the greatest hits. Triple H going into his greatest hits bag. Remember, he was part of the clique of that time and that era, and he understands the value of having an enforcer role for a very, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Like Liv and Shawn, what would you consider them? Like they draw a lot of numbers.
Punchable.
They're punchable, but I'm talking about they're attractive. They are sought after for. They're the eye of whatever person that they're interested in, because it's like, if you look at the numbers and viral numbers and their Twitter numbers, social numbers, Liv and Dom just through the roof, dude, with literally everything that even I post.
It's true.
Through the roof. And now you add Raquel. I mean, it keeps them solidified in their position in terms of power. Yes.
I'm with you. I think that the idea is great. The execution is poor, but we're going to forget about this execution real quick. We're going to care. What matters here on out is the execution of what happens on TV with the storyline. That's what's going to matter. You're going to forget about, the Shockmaster like reveal of Raquel. You're going to forget about it.
It wasn't that
bad. That was not bad. I'm exaggerating.
Bad. What's the I'm trying to think of an equivalent one.
By the way, I hate your hat so much. I just looked at it again.
Well, what? It's a fine hat. It's an expensive hat, by the way.
I started watching Prison Break. It's like what the correctional officers' hats.
It does. You know what? I could have picked so many different train conductor hats. There are those little ones with the stripes on it, right? Little ones. Mm-hmm. This one was the most obnoxious looking one. I was like, yes.
Where'd you buy that? This is an Amazon.
Yes. This is how much I put into the show. The money I get.
You ain't getting reimbursed.
I'm not even putting this receipt in. You know what I'm saying? This is a personal purchase. Personal purchase. But hey, I'm still on the Raquel train. I'm not getting off this train. I've been on this train for a long time. You know what we got to watch on Match Club? The last woman standing between Rhea and Raquel. That happened in the Thunderdome. Yeah, that was blonde. That was blonde hair, Rhea. What an interesting look for Rhea. And I like that story that she was like looking like Charlotte when she first came into the roster, because she thought that's what she needed to be. Mm-hmm. And then she became herself. And then when she became herself, she beat Charlotte. I miss Charlotte. I do.
She's got to be coming back soon, right? She's got to be coming back soon.
They said around November. That's when she should be cleared.
I mean, that's soon.
Is it?
Yeah, we're in around November. We are literally around it.
Are you a pumpkin spice guy? Come on.
I can be.
What does that mean? What does that mean? We all can be.
No. I'll tell you right now. I like the more sugary pumpkin spice from Starbucks, but then there is sometimes like the niche coffee shops where it's like
they never nail it.
It's like this is a pumpkin, bro. I didn't want a pumpkin.
Yeah. That's the thing. I'm so basic about that, and I understand there's people out there that say support your local things, but I try, dude. I go to that local shop. I like chai tea lattes. I like that. I like to go and indulge, and I go get it from them, and it's like, this is too chai. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. The spice is in my face, and I don't want this. I want
I'd like to return this. This is too pumpkin.
Too chai.
Too chai.
But so like I that is my unnecessary anxiety Oh God, I'm exposing my soul to you, and this is your defense here. Oh, getting too personal. Time to flex my muscles. Can't flex the muscle of your heart, brother. I'm here to tell you that is one of my anxieties when I go to these fancy like coffee shops. I want to be like, hey, I ordered this from Starbucks. Can I have the equivalent? And they just go, ugh.
They will
scoff at me.
And you know what? They'll scoff at you, and then they'll turn the iPad to ask for a tip.
They would. It reminds me of the guy at the liquor store, dude. He probably was scoffing at me because I had grapefruit vodka. You ever had grapefruit vodka? Delicious.
No, because it sounds awful.
No, it's delicious, dude. It's like a very kind of like, oh, don't do that. Are you like I only drink old fashions kind of guy? I saw you at TwitchCon with 2 Capri Suns walking around.
They were alcoholic Capri Suns.
They
all
were
right,
delicious.
they were
They're
awesome.
Dangerous. They were dangerous.
Yeah.
Very dangerous.
Trust me, I might have looked silly, but they were delicious. They were so good. I was double fisting Capri Suns.
You were. They were like $12 a pop too.
I didn't realize that until after the night. I was like, oh God.
Damn, it's like $100.
I'm Capri Suns.
Jeez. Just the thought of it, that's delicious though. I used to in San Francisco when I go visit Kind of Funny Studios, across the street there's a gas station. In that gas station, they have like alcoholic drinks, but then a baggie full of things that you can put in to mix in, and they sell it together like that. But it's all like Ziplocs, and you're just like, this may be against FDA rules, but I'm down.
Brother, sometimes you and I share our traumatic childhood stories.
This is not traumatic.
No. Here's one.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize, man, I was being used as a smuggling mule.
Okay.
Yeah, at a soccer game in Colombia, you're not allowed to bring in plastic bottles or glass bottles because people just throw them and it just becomes a violent thing, right? Like that's what soccer/football is like over there. You could bring drinks, but they had to be in a bag. So you literally had to like bite the corner of the bag if you wanted to drink it. That's it literally had to be in a bag, the whole liquid in a bag.
Like milk in a bag, right?
Like milk in a bag. Literally, it would be like that.
Yeah.
My dad and his friends, by the way, I'm like 7 here. They had me bring in like 2 liters of Coca-Cola with these bags. And I only realized after the show or like during the actual match that they had snuck in like 50 shots of clear liquor in even smaller bags within the bag of Coca-Cola, and they had me sneak it in because they're like, the kid, they won't check him. He's just got his Coca-Cola. And I brought in so much liquor, and I didn't even know. I was used, I tell you. But Charlotte, around November. We're closing in on the 2 hour. That's what happens around this mark.
Let's just skate over your past childhood trauma with Charlotte Flair. What's her production title thing? The little stinger?
Oh, bow down. That's what it is. It's like, oh God, why?
I know you want to talk about Charlotte, and I know we're late into the pod, but the people have been asking us. It's the end of Death Rebel's contract. Mm-hmm. That's it. No more Death Rebel. And I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. Death Rebel. I think they've been getting a bad rap for their overall work because most likely they were asked to change the themes that did not need to be touched with, especially from the NXT roster and like even legacy like Sheamus. But at the end of the day, they did a great job. I don't know what this hate for Death Rebel is.
No, I disagree. I mean, I feel like they had some bangers. Don't get me wrong, but when like Jim Johnson was around or CFOs was around, everyone was a recognizable banger. And if it wasn't a banger, it was an instantly recognizable theme that you didn't need this "we are" or "bow down" or "role model" at the beginning of it. We didn't need that.
Role model.
You know what you're having right now, Sancho?
Yes.
You're having graduation goggles. Now that you are graduating from Death Rebel, just like when you graduated from high school, you look back, oh, what a great time in high school I had. But like really, it wasn't actually that good. But it's because you're graduating and now you're reminiscing on those moments. You're having graduation goggles right now with Death Rebel. They were bad, brother. They were really, really bad. And now that they're leaving, you're like, but they weren't that bad. They had their moments. Graduation goggles, your initial gut instinct about Def Rebel sucking ass was correct.
I'm just saying, I do give it to you because when I'm watching the Royal Rumbles now that they have music, I recognize the themes, even though it's been like 20, 30 years, like the dumb Godwin theme. And then the dumb Headbangers. The Headbangers had a pretty cool
They did.
theme.
They had a headbanging song.
Yeah. Thrasher and Mosh.
Mosh, yeah.
Yeah. I just want to say, dude, I guess their highs should justify them for being acceptable.
False.
Come on.
False.
The Tribal Chief song, dude.
It is.
Come
No,
on.
I'm acknowledging that they had good songs, but pound for pound, they had more ass than they did bangers. And when I look at the other people that they've had under contract, they've never had this much ass. And they've never been a talking point either. This is literally, since I've become a wrestling fan, this is the first time that the producer of WWE entrance themes has been a talking point. Your graduation goggles, Sancho. Don't justify it. Don't justify it.
No. I think justify. I think the nail in the coffin was when Seth Rollins was watching the Royal Rumble and did not know who was who.
Yeah, he's like, who's that?
Dude, I think that's what started the downward spiral of them. And of course, changing Sheamus for me was like, but they got Braun Breaker's music. Dude, that was, I love new Braun Breaker.
Improvement.
Very good to get improvement. Yeah. I mean, and hello, Rhea Ripley, by far great. And your favorite, wah, 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 wah.
Yep. I'm
taking it all.
We don't want.
I still think Jey Uso's not a great theme. I'm working out. I listen to, I Walk Alone. I listen to Kingdom. Those are my first two songs. I walk into the gym with Bret Hart's theme playing in my thing. Yeah, I'm getting ready, dude. I walk into the locker room and, I come back out. I'm listening to I'll Walk Alone, right? And then Kingdom gets me started, right? And then all of a sudden, So comes on. And it is the dumbest song I've ever heard in a long time. If you really like, if it's in your ears and you're really listening to it, it's like,
just
yeah,
me, Oos.
Hey, Oos. Day one, it's like, yeah, you I'm gonna hear about for a long time. Here I come.
Jimmy's theme is actually good for
Jimmy's
lifting.
Is so good. Dun, so good. Jade Cargill's theme, I feel, has very influences of the Rock. I get those vibes. I like the Rock's Final Boss theme. That mix was done well. I don't know if Dev Rebel did that. It was done really, really well, especially the bam, bam, bam. I'm trying to think of anyone. I just want to give them their flowers, Santi. You may say I have graduation glasses, but just when there's someone is dead in the ground, you don't start talking trash. You remember the good times. Can we just remember the good times of Death Rebel before we give them their flowers? Remember they always say you need to give people their flowers while they're here. I'm trying to do that. All right? Can you name me one good thing about Death Rebel?
No, I will not. I will not name you anything good about Def Rebel. I'm excited that they're leaving. I do not want to see them back in the WWE. They set back WWE entrance theme songs by 20 years. Good riddance, goodbye. Thank you so much for your little nuggets of brilliance that you had here or there, but take your heaping metric butt ton of ass juice that you created and take it with you.
Can someone make that into a song, the stinger? What he just said.
What? Heaping metric butt ton of ass juice? No, man, I'm not giving them their flowers. I ain't giving them their flowers. They did mostly bad for the business, in my opinion. Just not good. Not good.
What's your workout song? What's the ones that you recommend, the WWE? If you had to make a playlist.
You know what? Riff for a second. Let me pull up my WWE workout playlist.
Sure. Like I said, mine goes to Bret Hart, into Walk Alone, into Kingdom. Joy, phenomenal. I enjoy. What other ones I like? Edge's theme is always awesome.
Yep, I've got mine right here. You ready?
All right, here we go.
All right. It's only like a handful of songs. It's not that many. So I got Kingdom.
Yes.
All right. I do have My Time Is Now immediately followed by Basic Thugonomics. I do. This is where the workout really starts to hit up. All right, you ready? Mark Henry's Somebody's Gonna Get It. That might be the workout song. I do have Head of the Table. I've got Solo Sikoa, Taking It All. I got Kane's Slow Chemical. I got A-Town Down, the original Austin Theory song.
Yeah.
I don't love the guy, but I got Alberto Del Rio's theme. You know, when I'm feeling myself, I'm looking in the mirror. I was like, yeah, that's royalty right there. Look at those royal biceps. I have the original Usos theme. Like the the Uso Penitentiary theme.
Not face paint Usos. No.
And not Jey Uso's theme. I have Jimmy Uso's theme.
Okay.
And you'll like this one. I've got Big Pressure, the theme song of Swerve Strickland.
Ooh.
I swerve when I drive. Yeah, I swerve when I. That's the current WWE. I don't just listen to WWE themes when I work out, but that's what I have in the what I called WWE workout playlist so far. It's growing.
I can't believe my time is so high on that.
Yeah.
list.
See, I like the Judgment Days theme, but it takes so long to get to lyrics, so it's not good for a workout. But you know what? I've kind of forgot about Edge's theme. I should add On This Day.
It still takes a while to get into it because the official song doesn't start off with that.
Same with I Walk Alone. Like that's the official song of Batista's theme. Takes a while to really get to where I wanted to be.
But not the actual WWE playlist, like not the one that's
correct
with the cover.
Correct. Yeah.
And then instead of year, he says yeah.
For me, I walk alone.
Dude, you look like one of those when you're playing Call of Duty and it's that big machine gun. You know, that's what your guns look like.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's good.
You got an underbarrel on that bad boy. Got a red dot on that bad boy. What happened to Call of Duty with all these attachments, brother? It used to be a red dot, and that's it.
It used to be 3, 6, 7, 3, 7. No, it used to be 3, 5, and 7 kill streaks, and now, look at you now, COD.
Why are you getting so emotional?
Look at you now. COD was a big part of my life, man. Big part of my life.
What was the best kill streak in COD history while we're coming down to the end of the show?
Oh, the most fun? I mean, I go back to the MW2 AC130, swapping between the 3 different attachments on the weapons, on the streak, right? So good. The missiles, the smaller missiles, the 50 cal machine gun on it. If you could, there was skill to the AC130 too. There was a level of skill to it. Chopper Gunner was just hold the button down and it wasn't as fun.
Yeah. I always enjoyed Juggernaut. It's always fun.
That one's okay from MW3. The Juggernaut suit, yeah.
Are we gonna play Zombies? Black Ops 6?
I'm down. When it comes out soon, doesn't it?
It comes out in October.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, for those of you who are big fans of us, we did stream us playing together, chained together. That was really fun.
Oh man,
about an hour of that. Yeah,
we got to do a longer one. We that one was kind of impromptu. I had something that I had to go to, but next one we gotta put.
We're gonna make it to the top, dude.
To the very tippity top. That was fun. It seems like we should wrap it up here.
Yes.
Let's do our new heat order here.
Oh, wow. I think this is an up-to-date one. Yes. I'm trying to make sure.
This is going to be... I feel like this is a 3-way fight for first.
Yeah. I'm just making sure I got the one. Yes. Because with the other one, we have Bronson Reed because he won the last Monster Standing, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, here's the pen. Folks, if you are new to the show, thank you so much. You've made it to the 101 hour and 52-minute mark, and we thank you, and you're a real true fan, and this is, of course, your favorite segment, my favorite segment, Santi's favorite segment. It is the new heat order. We talk about who has the buzz, who has the pizzazz, who is bringing us back into the seats. It doesn't matter if it's 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours, even if it goes down to 30 minutes, they always bring it. And here is your list so far. Going into that with these very expensive graphics that we pulled together. Number 10 was Chelsea Green. Number 9 was The Bloodline. Number 8, AJ Styles. Number 7, Nia Jax. Number 6, Kevin Owens. Number 5, Miz. Number 4, Xavier Woods. Number 3, Braun Strowman. Number 2, Seth Rollins. Number 1, Bronson Reed.
Brother, we have a discussion here. 3-way tie.
Yeah.
You ready for it?
A three-way tie?
No, I'm not saying it has to be a three-way tie. I'm just saying this is
These
what
are
I
your
have.
top three.
These are my top three, and we need to order them.
Okay.
CM Punk, The Rock, Kevin Owens. What you got?
I would have Drew McIntyre inserted in there.
Okay, and I would actually have Cody Rhodes inserted in there too. I think that's actually our top five. I think it's in some order: CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and The Rock. Who you got? What's the order?
CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, The Rock, Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes. Because Cody Rhodes has been downgraded because of the crown jewel. Because he has to deal with that. And it's like, and he didn't really do much, but his involvement with Kevin Owens still keeps him in the top five.
And the involvement with The Rock. Okay, I'm okay with that initial top five. That's the fastest top five we've ever done, by the way.
Yes. And the reason why I give Kevin Owens his flowers over Cody Rhodes is because Kevin Owens executed that heel turn with stiff punches, with non-wrestling moves, and it looked like a street fight.
With no TV time.
With no TV time, and he was the talk of bad blood after the fact. And the reason why I'm giving Drew McIntyre his flowers because the match itself and then the staples to his head, like that social media post.
Gross.
Good Lord.
Good God.
Gross. Good God. And we're not being Cody haters. Cody's still an integral part of the New Heat order. He wasn't even on last week's, so he's moving up.
Exactly.
Number 6. We didn't even get to talk about it. As read the hat.
Mm-hmm.
Did you enjoy the Miz carrying Cross in R-Truth?
I did not. Like it still felt like a weaker segment than what we usually would have had under a 3-hour Raw. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So a lot of things are just going to have quality decreases.
Yes,
because of the and I do think that your train, I still think it's going. I still think it's in the direction, but it's going slower. There's less steam in it, not by any fault of its own.
At one point, we're completely stopped, so we're fine.
I mean, at one point it became a new train, but you refused to acknowledge that it's a new train.
No. You would have been on this train if you just
listen. We made it this far without spending 15 minutes on train talk. Let's move on.
You're right. The hat was enough to was it
satiate?
Satisfy. Yeah, satiate.
Satiate's a better word.
Ooh, it is a good word. All right, number 6. Who would be number 6? We didn't really talk about Nia Jax and Bayley and Tiffy at
great.
Bad Blood.
How about Chelsea Green?
Yes.
Give me Chelsea Green.
I'm not arguing with you there. And you know what? And we didn't get to talk about Finn and Damian that much. I feel my issue with Finn and Damian at Bad Blood, and I think you talked about it for a little bit. It was a solid match, but I was missing the emotion. It was supposed to be about two brothers fighting against each other, two guys who were kind of like thrown away pieces, forming this Judgment Day faction. And I know that Damian and Rhea and Edge were part of it, and then Finn joined in, but it was still about these two guys who were not necessarily considered main eventers pulling together to become the main event. You know, Finn working his hardest to get Damian with the Money in the Bank to get him to succeed. Them being tag team champions. I didn't get all that. I didn't get that fallout. I didn't get that emotion in the match itself.
Yeah. On top of that, you had Finn Balor. I think he got buried, in my opinion.
Yes.
Real quick.
The dude hit 3 coup de grace, dude.
I know. Dude, he cheated. He had the numbers game, hits 3 coup de grace that get no sold into one south of heaven, and that's enough to win. Finn Balor must have peed in Triple H's toilet or something.
Do you feel that Finn Balor's on the way out?
I don't know, obviously, but it feels like it could be a way to get him on the way out. Because they like this to me is indicative of there's no interest in making this a multi-match feud.
No,
I don't want to see part 2. Damian won. It's over. He got his revenge.
I mean, Finn Balor did say on the way out, like, it's not over. And then in the presser after, Damian Priest said that him and Rhea were going to be splitting ways. So it's like, is Damian moving on beyond Judgment Day business? I don't know. But I did not like the finish.
Yeah, they're not on the list, neither of them. Neither of them. We got Chelsea Green. Give me AJ Styles in there. We're
Ooh,
talking about him. We're talking about him.
yes. AJ Styles. And you know what? This wouldn't be a Wrestling School podcast if I didn't mention LA Knight. Yeah, continue to still do his thing with the limited time that he has. I just want to see, this is a Braun Breaker situation. I want the outside of the ring to match what's happening in the ring, and that's not there yet. Not on the list. Respectfully.
Tongans.
Yes. You're on fire right now. You're on point today.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're on point today. You know, no one ever gives you credit for being on point.
We got to have Roman here, too, at some point.
Oh, God. Roman's not even on this list.
Not yet. I like the buzz from the other people more so far.
I think, like, Roman had a solid match. It was very 2018 Shield Roman almost. Like, that kind of babyface match that he always has when he was a face. And he is super over. But this is not a list about who's over. This is a list about the buzz.
Who made the most buzz this week?
Who made the most buzz?
Roman wasn't on SmackDown, so that didn't help.
And we haven't had SmackDown yet. But yeah,
well, no, the previous SmackDown. Before Bad Blood, he wasn't on it.
And I got to point out, that entrance wasn't that hot.
Dude, did you see the woman fake playing the drums? And she's laughing about it. I said when the entrance was happening, I was like, I can't tell the difference of his regular theme and this orchestra playing. They clearly weren't playing.
Yeah. I don't know. I would like them to stop with the orchestra theme for Roman. They've done it 3 times in a row.
I liked when it was the piano. The piano at WrestleMania 39. That was lit. That was lit.
So, but is Roman even in the top 10?
I would say so.
The tribal chief.
Yeah, he's in the top 10. Like in terms of buzz.
Would you say though, The Rock return put a blanket on all that?
Yes, it did. Well, frig, dude, I'd actually have Jimmy over Roman.
Okay.
I'd have Jimmy over Roman.
Buzz. Is that 9 and 10?
I think so.
Oh, wow. Right.
Is that our list?
Jimmy, I think so. Braun Strowman being out with a possible groin sucks. Bronson Reed didn't have that much of a. I think it's great that Seth Rollins is talking about it. Seth Rollins is not on this list, but still a close one. It just shows you that 2-hour Raw really hurt a lot of momentum. Mm-hmm. A lot of the great work that they were doing. It like I mentioned, it felt like they brought the pie out too early. And I burned myself biting into the pie, and it's like, this is not as good as you ever. Okay, real quickly, in a thing here in Texas, there's a known thing. If your food truck becomes an actual restaurant, the quality of the food diminishes completely because there's so many things you have to worry about now being a brick and mortar. And that's what it feels like. I feel like that 3-hour Raw was like a great food truck that we all went to, that we all waited in line for. We didn't care how long it was delicious. And then we went to a brick and mortar, and the ingredients they're all the same ingredients, but not the same quality. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
Jimmy Uso, number 10, Roman Reigns. I'm happy though that there is greener pastures for Netflix.
It's a good thing to look forward to.
I'm also hopeful that this bad 2-hour Raw gives Triple H and the WWE the incentive to like really push for that 3rd hour.
I hope so too. I really, really hope so. Granted, 2 hours without commercials could feel like 3 hours worth of booking. We'll see.
You're right. Those commercials were,
they were aggressive.
It's like a streamer running 10-minute ads every hour.
How much do you run?
I put it down to 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I used to be 30 seconds. But I'm kind of guessing that Twitch doesn't like that, and Twitch would push you more in terms of the search if you had a more.
Maybe I do 5 minutes.
That's not bad. That's not bad. I mean,
I would love to do 15.
Right. I've seen people when they get rated, they just like put on the max ads, but I find that doing what Twitch wants you to do, like what they recommend, keeps you in the algorithm a little bit more. And a lot of people say that Twitch is not an algorithm based. When you shoot out your little message, I think that's algorithm based. Your little notification. Could be. Because oftentimes I send out notification, and then people like 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, they get that noti.
That's staggered. True, man. It's a game, man.
It's all a game. I don't know you play it. Here is your updated new heat order, folks. Yes, I mean the funds are low in the graphic department. Santi does not give us much. At number 10, Roman Reigns. Number 9, Jimmy Uso. Number 8, The Tongans. Number 7, AJ Styles. Number 6, Chelsea Green. Number 5, Cody Rhodes. Number 4, Kevin Owens. Number 3, The Rock. Hanabos. Number 2, Drew McIntyre. Number 1, CM Punk. And considering that CM Punk is going to be on the shelf a while, and Drew, that New Heat order will shift after SmackDown.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. Again, you could have gotten this podcast 3 days earlier than everyone else had you been over on the Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZap. It literally gets uploaded 10 minutes after we finish recording. So come check it out, patreon.com/SantiZap. An extra special thank you goes out to our $15 patrons. Our Patreon's not $15 a month. These are like the people that are going above and beyond to become a producer of the show, and they get their name read out loud in the credits here. So an extra big thank you goes out to Sancho Mania Running Wild, FU Santi on First, Nick Harvey, 2022 Benjamin, Aaron Garcia, AC Big Mac, Adam McLeod, Adrian Liu, Aiden, Akira Kemp, Alex Rigel, Alan Crockett, Anita Max Swin, Asher McYoda, Asperlitz, Ozzy Kingslayer, Austin Baker, Austin Gregory, Austin Weaver, a lot of Austins, author Ellen Wittenhagen, B Nation Betancourt, Bard Rushton, Bailey Saunders, Ben Calloway, Ben Davis, Barry, B Hostile, Big Poppy Sasquatch, BK So Chill, Blake Kimball, Blake Brady Keaton, Brandon Cannell, Brandon Shire, Bry Guy, Bryce Burt, Buxo, Caleb Lee, Call Sign Caveman, Callum Wood, Cameron Noel, Carlos Gonzalez, Carter, CB, Chupapi, Chimchars Collectibles, Chris Hansen says, stop oiling up Santi, Christian Billick, Christian Ormsby, CM Puff, Colby Johns, Colin Roach, Connor Williamson, Crunchy Tomato, Daniel
CM Puff.
Danny the Chad GF, Dar, DJ Broadnex, DJS, Andrew Ashford, Dumski, Dylan Kana, Eric Theory Gonzalez, Ethan Latch, iSatch, W Chargers can't lose if there's no game. That's real. Fish Reel, Fletcher Walpole, Forever Wrestling, Franklin L. Everett, Gamerscape, Gary Coons, George Valdez, Gilbert Deans, Goated Sean, GX Amen, Harley McClure, Hassan Aziz, Hartfelt, Heigl Sverer Helderson, Issa David. It's gonna be Bloodline Rules. It's Mista. I'm gonna nut in Santi's protein shake. Jack, Jacob Marcel, Jacob Pena, Jacob Staffel, James Abel, James Brian Belogo, Jassim Alcazar, Javier Arenas, Javier Rodriguez, Jalen Steele, Gene, Jennifer Johnson, Jeremy C. Moreau, Jesse, Joe Velez, Jolly Green Giant, Jonah, Jonathan Daly, Jordan Lynch, Jorge Caballero, Joseph Pointer, Juan Verduzco, Judson Daniels, Justin Perkins, Caden Rivers, Contarius Jackson, Ken Dean, Casuz, Cobb's World, Kuwaiti Rick Boogs, Kyrie Lawrence, Let's All Nut in Santi's Protein Shake for Science, Lil Shifu, Mako Mac Gaming, Malik Graham, Manly Man, Manu, Marcus Gonzalez, Marnie, YCSM, Mason Kirk, Mason Lott, Matt Rodney, Matthew Dollar, Meki, Michael Glass, Michael Walter, Mike, Muhammad Akram Al-Madawi, Muhammad Al-Banai, Monte Moore, Mountain Paws, Mabusher Khan, Neb, Nellen Zach, Nicholas Kyle, Nighthawk, Papaya King, Patrick Rapaldi, Peachmania, SmackDown has always been the A-Show, Phoenix, Prince Vegeta, Reaper God, Reese Dowd, Ricky Dutcher, Roberto Dickbud, Rocky B, Rodolfo Reyes, woo, Page 4, baby, Roey Levy, Ryan Fier, Ryan Williams, Riley, Sancho aplaudió cuando murió Mufasa en El Rey León. Let me translate that for you. It says Sancho, Sancho applauded when Mufasa died in The Lion King.
Should be on PLE.
Sancho Maniac, Sonny Rick Bug, Screamo Scott, Seth, Sean Michaels, Right Nostril, Sherry, Silver Football, Sir Nightmare, Soul So Fat, we should call him a duo, Spencer Schnartz, Spicy Nugget, Squishy, Stephen Rhodes, Stephen Amay, Stucky, Sugar Shane, Sullivan Mayer, Super Malachi Galaxy, Tanisha Jones, the final boss, the gaming freak, the thought of Santi's oiled up toes in my pre-workout, the B-Meister, Joe, man, I'm walking here, the McBro, Tim, Tobias Burnett, Tom Lehman, Trent Head, Trexor Gaming, Two Crown, Tyler Chalk, Tyler Sharp, Vince versus Diddy in a last man convicted match, Juan Pablo III, Wesley Simpson, Whip One, Will Templeton, Zan Frank, Javier Izquierdo.
That one should not be on a PLE.
No? Okay.
No.
Yao Parda, Zach Griffin, Zergzito, Lord BB, and Jay. Woo! Lots of patrons. Thank you so much for the support, folks. Really appreciate it. It's how we're able to do this as much and as often as we do as full-time creators. So really appreciate you. Folks, thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Goodbye.
Dugga.